felt Texas, but also Black people as a whole. And so I think it's both a celebration and a contradiction. I can see the celebratory aspect because it is celebrated, by Black people beyond Texas and has been, to my knowledge. But it becomes a contradiction because we're essentially like celebrating the fact that white people and like the government like lied to us again and didn't fulfill essentially the promises that it was supposed to make. But at the same time, it was a process because they were fighting, for that same freedom that was supposed to be allotted to us. But because of how America works and how anti-Blackness works, you still have people having their bondage. You still have people in bondage having their freedom withheld from them for much, much longer. So I feel like it's nuanced and complex, but I'm not, going to complain if it's a 3-day weekend with a paid day off. But I think we do need to pay homage more than just commercializing it the way that the government is trying to and giving us, symbolism that's supposed to mean something, and as if we live in a truly like post-racial society.
So I like what you said. You said how the mainstream media has commercialized it. So we did a group the other day. I don't know if you brothers remember. You may have been in that biblical smoke that particular night. We asked the audience. I believe it was entitled, "Has America given us anything that we can trust? Can we trust America with anything?" And then it was about basically how they passed the laws for Asian people, basically, like discrimination against Asian people. What is it about Juneteenth in particular that they want to make sure that we're holding on to, right? Because I'm going to read something to you real quick. This is about slavery in the state of Mississippi, which is where I'm from, right? Mississippi slavery wasn't abolished until 2013, right? Yeah, I said it. That's exactly right. 2013. So I'm gonna read this quick article. It says 2 medical colleagues from Mississippi once noticed a historical oversight after watching a film about the final moves by U.S. President Abraham Lincoln to secure the 13th Amendment that will abolish slavery. Until February 7, 2013, that oversight was never corrected. So it wasn't until 2013, February 7th, that the state of Mississippi went back to make sure that they corrected an error that was a part of the 13th Amendment as far as this particular state was concerned, right? So you got to ask yourself, we're able to find Osama bin Laden. We're able to find out how many molecules is in the human body. We can tell you how many cells are in the human body, but we can't find a grammatical error in a document that was supposed to be "quote unquote" the abolition of slavery. So that's the abolishing of slavery. So what I'm saying is, it's a contradiction. If to say that Juneteenth is something that we're supposed to celebrate our freedom from slavery, but yet we see slavery was abolished in Mississippi, and that's just one "quote unquote" grammatical error or mishaps or oversight in a government document. Right, it's just one. Just one we just talked about. We're not talking about the hundreds of others that have been discovered over the years. Right. So to say that Juneteenth is a celebration, I say it's a contradiction because if we're still quote unquote slaves, considered to be slaves here in 2013 in the state of Mississippi in particular, then that shows that the Juneteenth celebration is a complete contradiction to us actually being out of slavery. We're still there, in my opinion. So, I like what you said, Paige. You said some really good things, but I just wanted to put that on the brain of the people that, when you look at the 13th Amendment, it still say, I mean, not the 13th Amendment, but the Constitution, it still says that blacks are 2/3 of a man, right? Excuse me, 2/5 of a man. So, like I said, these are the things that we got to really examine and look into and then ask ourselves, why are we celebrating such things?
Yeah, I feel like we should definitely take it with a grain of salt. Because again, I think it should be centered, and this holiday is very pivotal for people in like Galveston, the Houston area, in the Southeast. Because for them it is celebratory because it's essentially their day. But that's not to take away from, as you pointed out again, the larger aspects and the convict leasing that happened directly after slavery, which was essentially slavery by like another name, and what happened after that, and like the entire idea of suffering, which was still going on like deep into the 20th century. So I think it's very much complex. I mean, I like ultimately this is something that the majority of Black America really didn't ask for. but maybe we can use it to foster some sense of unity and some sense of pride where we can find it. But I don't think we should stray too far away from its origins, which would be like highlighting the people, in southeastern Texas and their contribution, you feel me, and their struggle as well, because I feel like we really don't hear about that side of the country as far as it pertains to slavery in and of itself. You mostly get the idea focused on the southeastern United States. So I think these are all things to keep in mind.
So here's the question. Because earlier you said you think it's a little bit of both. It's a celebration. It's also a contradiction. That within itself is a contradiction, right? So we got to now realize something. We got to really think about something, because I know what a lot of us do as black people, bro. We've been destroyed. We've been downtrodden. We've always gotten the short end of the stick, the tail end of society. So a lot of times we try to find small victories amongst our community, right? But for us to celebrate something, right, it has to have some type of positive origin. This doesn't have a positive origin, and also for us to celebrate something, it's got to be able to lead to something better. This has not led to something better. We had a George Floyd last year. Many of our brothers, the so-called Hispanics, were and are still being detained at the border in concentration camps. Many so-called blacks are still being oppressed in the states, in the streets of Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, throughout the whole world, Detroit, Michigan, wherever you are, you see our people still going through the same struggles that we went through. It's just now we have the freedom to go back to our hut. You understand? And when I say our hut, I mean the ghettos and the hoods and the slums. We're able to make a little bit more money. We're able to be athletes now, and business owners and entertainers. So a lot of times we think that we've made some type of strides, but when we really look at it in actuality, the oppression is still there. It is even heightened even more now that we, quote unquote, have been freed from slavery. So that's why I'm saying I really want you to think about, ponder what you're saying. I know you're saying it's a small victory for our people in the Southwest, but should we really be celebrating something that we have not seen the fruits of? We have not seen the fruits that we are not in slavery anymore. So that's my question. And it's not only for you, Paige, it's also for, I think Charles just came up. Charles, give us a little understanding what you think, bro. Juneteenth, a celebration or a contradiction?
Hey guys. Yeesh. So I just came in on the back end of what you said, but I would just say what I heard from you a little bit from you is that like it's just kind of hard to talk about, like, we're not, we came like far from what happened, since 1865. Hello? Oh, okay. So all I'm saying is like I think that we should have time to celebrate, but also to remember what's going on today as well. It's still a long way to go. You know what I mean? So it's not even like a celebration. It's like a remembrance to strive for more to me. I mean, like, I mean, uh, like I'm living in Baltimore now. I work at Johns Hopkins. So, like, I hear things going on. Not here. I see things going on in the news in Baltimore. Like a kid got killed yesterday, right? In front of a store in broad daylight. You know what I mean? And it's like, of course, we understand the struggles. We understand what goes on into poverty-stricken communities where they have to fight. And in poverty-stricken communities, whether it's white, black, whatever, crime will be high. So all that is to say is like, how can we move forward? For me, it's like, okay, Juneteenth is a celebration, right? But also it's a remembrance. So it's more of a remembrance for me about our history, about what happened in America in our history, and also what type of people, like us as a people, how to move forward. And I hate to say it, but not everybody can ascend and move forward, you know?
When you say move forward, right? You mean move forward to towards something better, right? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so my question for you is, since we've been released from slavery, have we seen any signs of things getting better for us? Now, I'm not now. Don't get me wrong, because this I don't want anybody to talk about the cars we're able to drive, the businesses we're able to start, because we know that that's a small percentage of our people. I'm talking about on a grand scale, the so-called blacks in America, right? Have we really seen strides since we were released from chattel slavery? Because remember, and Paige mentioned it, and I mentioned it earlier, the 13th Amendment was instituted post 1865, or right when we were abolished from slavery, or the abolition of slavery. We had the 13th Amendment instituted. So my question is, have we seen great strides as far as us as a people, or have we seen ourselves go backwards since the time that we were quote unquote released from?
I would say both. The reason why is, okay, we hear about Tulsa, we hear about all these 100 communities that were black owned. We had black doctors, pharmacists, all of that stuff in the community. And then, of course, we hear, let's say 1980 came, right? And then it was we had degradation, right? So a moving back, right? So it was less doctors that we had in the now than, what we had in the 60s, 70s, and during those times, what I mean? And that's not far away, it's literally not far away. And we have less black doctors today than we had back then. So of course it's a movement. Yes. Uh,
So you would say a decline instead of an incline.
yes. Yes.
So that's okay. So that's okay. Now we get somewhere. So if there's been a decline instead of an incline, we know post slavery we became sharecroppers. They instituted the vagrancy laws. They instituted a convict leasing, 13th Amendment, so on and so forth, to bring us back into that bondage. Then we were freed, quote unquote. We started Black Wall Street. We started Mount Bayou and the various other black communities where we started and had our own. Like you mentioned, we had many black doctors, many black entertainers, many black movie theaters, hotels, quote unquote. Now we bring it up to 2021. And we see we have less now than we had at that time. And we don't have our own communities thriving, our own cities, our own towns. So if there's been a decline, why are we celebrating Juneteenth?
So I'll touch in just a second to say that I think it's important to, celebrate our freedom. Absolutely. And I think we must steer
But
of
are
the
we
whole.
free?
I think we should steer of the whole, we should recognize that we absolutely freed ourselves. The idea that we were given freedom is something that is absolutely untrue, and the historical record, speaks to that. Aside from the hundreds of thousands of black men who fought, you feel me, in the Civil War and every war, leading up to that, you had black men that was escaping from their own situations and putting themselves in something better, for themselves. And yes, we can look at the 13th Amendment. That's something that essentially reinstituted slavery. But I mean, in any society, especially with one with a social contract such as America, you do have to, abide by certain laws, and you agree to certain terms that comes with, having a government, paying taxes, having a military, having an economy, having a free market, etc. And I think in saying that, you forfeit all your rights in any given jail, what else, or when you go to jail, you forfeit your rights. You have to look at it in the sense of, as a and when people commit crime, what as a society, are we supposed to do with them? Do we let them roam free? Do we do what they do in in Europe, where they barely, people, you can kill 70 people and get 15 years. There's no real harsh punishment. So I think if we look at it in that light, and also look at it as, our progress from then to now, I think we absolutely have things to celebrate. We absolutely have a up from slavery story that, many people don't have, and that when we see it in that light, I think we realize just how special our history really is. And not getting too far, I think that alludes to your point. It's where we have to rein it in just a little, but I don't think we should be too hard just on ourselves, especially understanding where we've come from then to now.
Go ahead, son of God.
Hey, say peace to everybody, shalom, everybody that's on.
Peace.
Hey, I think, hey, this is a good topic right here. But I think it's a contradiction, knowing what I know now. If I would have been like not knowing the truth of who I was in the Bible and the truth that's in the Bible, you know what I mean? I will feel like the brother Page just said. But it's all a contradiction, man, because the Bible tells us to celebrate our freedom from captivity. But it doesn't say nothing about Juneteenth. All right. The Bible gives us the Passover when we celebrated coming out of Egypt. We was enslaved. We had other high holy days like the Feast of Dedications and stuff like that Black people, Hispanic people have no idea what it is, you know what I mean, or how to conduct it or how to celebrate it. But soon as the white man give us a freedom to celebrate something called Juneteenth, we run and celebrate it. And until to me personally, I think black people just always looking for a time to barbecue. This would be a good time to bring out the dominoes, the spades, the weed, you know what I'm saying, the bonnets, the oversized eyelashes, and the fairy flip flops, you know what I mean? And and the little Hennessy on the side and Crown Coke. To me, I think black people are always looking for some um excuse to throw a party. You know what I mean? Um Juneteenth is most definitely a contradiction. Why? Because I don't know if y'all brought it out yet. Is Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8, right quick. Abuka. We as a people, we got to understand that we are still in the land of our captivity. We are not free. You work 40 hours plus a week to give your money right back to the same people who had you in the cotton fields. I hope you understand that. We work 40 hours a week to pay taxes to their system. All right, we work 40 hours a week to pay our light bill to their system. Uh, we get food from them. We get everything that we have to have. We have to get it from our slave master. So are we really free? All right. So read that again.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a
So
reproach.
all right. So we got to understand that the Most High has scattered us. All right, for a reproach. You know what I'm saying? To be a disappointment. Y'all don't understand that we are yet this day, 2021, still in our captivity. Black people are only black people are the only people that are still happy because they'll put something on TV like the first black songwriter, the first black person to do this, it's 2021 and we are still saying hooray over, what I'm saying, racial milestones. I guess I can put it like that. We got to understand we are yet this day in our captivity. How you know? Because we are so happy that Barack Obama was the president, and hell, that was what, 2000 and something. We've been in captivity this long, and we're still excited about the first black this and the first black that. Are we out of our minds? All right, come on.
So,
And accursed.
hold on one second,
Hold
Charles.
on.
Let him finish real quick,
Let me finish.
and you can rebuttal right after Charles.
I want to jump
And
in there too
accursed.
as well.
Come on.
Baruch
Read it from the
chapter
top
3.
again.
Baruch chapter 3, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse,
All right, for
and
a
to be
reproach, and hold on, for a reproach and a curse. All right, for a disappointment and a curse. This is how and why we came to America. These are things that they are not teaching at these Juneteenth events. I know because when they first started having Juneteenth events, they invited me to come speak at one in the town that I'm from down here and down south where I'm at, right? So when we got up to speak, they let us speak 5 minutes and they was rushing us off the stage. You know what I mean? Our people are not learning the truth, you know what I'm saying, about who we are in this Bible. This is why we are a lost people. That's what our people got to understand, that we got the solution, but nobody wants to hear the solution. Keep reading the book.
and to be subject to payments.
All right, now we got to pay bills. Now we're subject unto payments. That's how you know that we are not free. All right, because we are still subject to payments. When we have the other nations in subjection, meaning that all the other nations are coming to us for the want of all things, that's when we would know that we are free as a people. Come on.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
And this is why we ended up into slavery here in America, because our forefathers, they departed from God. They fell into idolatry. And this is what Juneteenth has turned into, and is what it's turning into, is a day of idolatry. And that's all it is. And plus, they are having it on the Lord's Sabbath day. Our people not understanding, we're thinking that we're doing something good, but it's nothing but evil that the oppressor is allowing us to do it. And they know what they're doing, but black people are running to it like it's something great, but it's not really nothing great. If you want to celebrate a real Juneteenth, celebrate the Passover, celebrate the Feast of Dedication, celebrate the Feast of Purim, when they was finna kill all of us. But you know what I'm saying? But the Lord had Esther and her uncle Mordecai, you know what I'm saying, to deliver us. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we need to learn to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Not Juneteenth. Juneteenth is become a day of idolatry. All right, that's what our people got to understand. Just because the white man say it's good to celebrate and he says it's okay, it doesn't make it okay with God. All right, I'm gonna mute my mic.
That's right. Hey, Charles, you want the rebuttal?
Well, it's not a rebuttal. It's a question.
Go ahead, brother.
So
Go ahead.
I just want to know, what is the solution? Because I heard that you said you have the solution.
Okay, hey, that's a good question. What's the solution? Give me which one I want? Give me, is it 2 John 6?
Hey, while he getting that, don't forget to hashtag us on Twitter at hashtag Biblical Smoke. Also, subscribe to the room. Come get your biblical answers for all your questions.
The book of 2 John and verse 6. And this is love.
You know,
You breaking up. You sound like you're in the Matrix, son of God.
Nah, we can't hear you, bro.
Hey,
Yeah, we hear you now.
son of God. Hey, son of God. We're gonna move on. We're gonna let Chris answer until your phone come back. Chris, go ahead. Can you pick up on this question? What's the solution?
Absolutely. Joshua, I would go to Joshua chapter 1. The book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So the only way to get success out of what we're doing is by applying God's laws to our life. And that's what we don't do. We don't apply God's laws to our life. We don't even think that God's laws are a solution. We don't even see
So
God's laws as a solution, right? So that's where we got to start. And if we start there, then everything will fall into place. I heard a brother say a minute ago that we freed ourselves, and that really made zero sense to me. That did not happen. We did not free ourselves, right? We are still currently in our bondage today. That's why Juneteenth is a contradiction, because we are currently in bondage. But we
right.
see the scraps that we have and think that it's some type of celebration. No. We
But
had our
Chris,
own
we get to
land. We had our
vote
own
though.
country. Yeah, we can vote now. Yeah, we had our own land. We had our own country. We had all our own resources.
Government.
But now we think because we can vote, we think we really have made some type of progress, and we haven't. Juneteenth is a contradiction. Can I get one more scripture?
You saying voting is not a sign of freedom?
That is a sign of oppression. That is a clear sign of oppression. That's what voting is, because your vote don't count. The college electoral system is what they count at the end. It is a sign of oppression.
Hey, Chris, and not only that, you're voting for your next slave master.
Exactly. Democrat and Republicans. It's just two different wings on the same bird.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Hey, when Chris and Son of God finish Octagon, I want to hear from you, bro. So give us a minute. We'll get to you. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Hey, let me get that one in Hebrews right quick. Hebrews, I believe it's we seek a country. You know what I'm talking about? That's what God people seek.
I think it's chapter
And that's
11.
who we are. We're
I
God's
think
people.
it's chapter
Yes,
11,
sir.
maybe verse
11 and
16,
14.
14.
11 and 14. The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 14. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country.
So that's what we're looking for. That's when we are truly free. Not because we can vote, not because we got a high number of doctors. And again, like I said, I just heard the brother say that we freed ourselves. I heard another brother speaking about him working at Johns Hopkins. My wife worked at Johns Hopkins during the Freddie Gray, I believe it was the riots that was going on. And she said that whole area is oppressed right next to one of the world's largest and most prestigious hospital. It's full of oppression right next to the hospital. So to think that Juneteenth should be some type of celebration, it makes no sense. It's a contradiction to everything that we should want, which is our own country, our own resources, our own everything. I hand it back to you.
Hey, can I say something? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, this whole thing make absolutely no sense because I'm looking at this, right? The first celebration of Juneteenth was 1866. Now, if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm not really 100% good in history, but the first Juneteenth was 1866. Now, let's examine what happened since Juneteenth, the first time it was celebrated. You got the KKK, you got redlining, you got Black Wall Street, you got integration. By the way, when you talk about integration, I think integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black people in America. The worst. We should have stayed segregated. Because of integration, that's why we are in that position we are today. We are nothing, we have nothing, we don't even have a path to peace. Because of integration. That's the worst thing that ever happened to us.
Hey, Malachi Z, what expound on that for us? Why you say is the worst thing?
I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to explain to you. When you look at, because I just come from Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? And I visited the place where they used to have Black Wall Street, right? I talked to people. We used to have our own hospital, our own school, our own buses, our own banks. Yes, our own banks, lawyers, doctors. We used to have everything. Now, these white people go, they burn it down. They burn it down. Now, keep in mind, Black Wall Street was only one spot. Black Wall Street was all over America. You got 1921, I think it's 1920, 1922. They was trying to kill basically what they're trying to do was, their mission was to shut down and burn down every single black business. They call it the Red Summer. Yes, Red Summer.
They did it to Rosewood in Florida too.
Yes, exactly. So now, we used to own all that. And now here come integration. And you know what integration did? Integration make black people believe the white man water tastes better than their water. Integration make the black people believe the white man doctor is smarter than the black doctor.
Damn.
The white lawyer is smarter than the black doctor. Their grocery store tastes better. Their grocery tastes better than ours. That's what integration done to us. And because of that, we shut down all of our stuff. Now we start buying from them.
So integration made us hate ourselves?
Yes, we hate ourselves. Now you got the black women wearing blonde wigs. Listen, back then, when you talk about back then, 1920, none of this foolishness was happening.
It was.
Let me finish, bro.
It was.
One second, Charles. Because of integration, we are nothing. We are about nothing. Seriously, listen. When you look at the black community, because what you see going on right now is because of integration. We totally destroy. And what they did, they make us believe that whatever we need, they're going to provide it. We fall for the okie dokie. We fall for it. So all this thing about Juneteenth, that's garbage. Now they say, oh, vote. Every 4 years you can vote. Every 2 years you can vote. Listen, nothing changed. Nothing changed. They're still killing us in the middle of the street, broad daylight, and they go to court not guilty. Or they found no charges at all. Nothing changed. Listen, stop kidding ourselves. Stop kidding us. That's the one thing about black people I don't understand. You guys want to pretend everything is good when you damn well know is worse than it ever been. Stop pretending, man. It's time to come out of the white man butthole and repent, keep God's laws. I hate to put it like that, but that's some of us. Our head is too deep into the white man butthole. Come out of it, man. Repent and start keeping God's laws, man. Stop kidding ourselves. I mute my mind. Yeah. So, hey, we want to Charles, we want to hear your rebuttal. Charles, we want to hear your rebuttal, and then Octagon, I want to hear from you.
So all I was saying is, it was just inaccurate in the 1920s. Black women wore, straight hair. Madam C.J. Walker became a millionaire doing that to black women. So it was a black woman named Madam C.J. Walker.
Well,
Hopefully you guys know.
I think he's referring to weave and perm, things of that nature. I think you're talking about weaves and stuff, Charles.
Oh, so in the 40s. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, because I mean, we are aware of that, but yeah, okay, Charles, appreciate you.
Can I rebut once more, and then I'm done, brother Dion? Can I say one more thing?
Again? Yeah, Pay. I want to hear from you, bro. Just stick around, stay on stage, but I want to get to Octagon because he's been waiting for a long time patiently. Both of you got a chance to speak, so let's hear Octagon real quick. We'll come back around to you, brothers. Just stay with us. Octagon, go ahead, bro. Is it Juneteenth a celebration or a contradiction?
I think it's a contradiction. A lot of stuff I was going to say, brothers pretty much covered it. But I want to add this, that watch around June 19th or whatever on college campuses, the white LBGTQ, whatever that alphabet is, they trying to push black gay men to celebrate their gayness on that, and it's tripping me out because uh, I work over here at certain Chicago campuses, and I've seen the flyers everywhere. They trying to the LBGTQ whatever white people are putting their flowers of black men who want to speak out and celebrate their gayness on that day or during Juneteenth period. And they want to take people's mind off even the celebration part. You know what I'm saying? To further the contradiction. You know what I'm saying? So I see a movement in that. Now watch it. Watch, I told y'all this. Watch you go to your local college campuses and you're going to start seeing this LBGT stuff coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, we appreciate you, bro. Hey, you had some son of God?
Yeah, hey, I like what that brother said, man, because everything that these people are doing now, they're trying to make it into a LGBT parade, and so that's what they're gonna do with Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a day for them, and then now they're gonna demonize you if you speak out against it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna bring out about the gay slaves and all that and stuff. Because that's where a lot of our people learned this stuff at. You know what I'm saying, from the slave master, because there was something back in slavery called butt breaker. They'll break the butt breaker. You know what I mean? People need to go up and watch that, where the slave master would take the biggest buck he had and bring him out in front of the whole village or the front of the whole community, and have and butt and go into his anal cavity. You know what I'm saying? In front of the kids, in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna try to bring this stuff back. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to do. Like what Octagon said, man. I agree with you 100%, man. If we don't watch these folks and we don't sit up here and demonize them and try to, show the people, you know what I'm saying, where it's very contradicting that. You know what I'm saying? Or it's gonna be another gay parade. I'm just gonna tell you straight. I mean.
Right. All right. Let's move on to Rand. Rand, you've been on stage with us. Rand, tell us, Juneteenth, a celebration or a contradiction? Rand, you there?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you,
Hello?
sis. Go ahead. Yeah, we
Can
hear you,
y'all hear
sis.
me?
Go ahead. Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I actually wanted to piggyback on what Dion was saying earlier,
Turkey
because I'm
back,
also
sis.
from
Sis,
Mississippi.
turkey back,
So
turkey back, turkey back, turkey back. We don't eat no pork. Turkey back.
you said what?
Don't piggyback. Don't piggyback,
Oh
sister.
yeah,
Turkey
yeah.
back.
Okay.
Turkey back.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to turkey back on what you were saying because I'm also from Mississippi. So I feel like it's a contradiction for the reasons y'all were saying, but I also feel like it's a contradiction because um like black people kind of don't, in my opinion, majority of black people actually don't care really, and black people kind of pick and choose when we want to be pro-black and that kind of
That's
stuff,
heavy.
and so it's like a contradiction within ourselves, because you'll have black people now. We like, oh, I want to celebrate Juneteenth and stuff because we get a day off and a barbecue, but they still interracial marry. They still circulate money in other
Damn.
communities when we could have circulated into our own. They still, we go on Twitter and
Wait,
put each other
wait, I
down.
got a
Black men
question.
talking about
Hold on.
black.
Sis, I got a question for you because you spin facts. I got a question though. So you saying that a brother or sister say they pro-black for Juneteenth, celebrating the emancipation of the slaves, and then Sunday morning they land with a white woman or white man. That what you saying?
Yeah, because you can't pick and choose. Being pro-black to me, like, and I don't have an official definition, but being pro-black to me requires putting the needs of the community substantially high. Like, maybe not as high as your own personal needs, but you have to put it above.
Facts.
You know,
Integrity. That's what I'm
it has
talking
to be
about.
high. You can't. Yeah, exactly. You can't just be like,
Facts,
"Oh, I'm
facts, facts.
pro-black," and then you don't care. You don't care about black love. You don't care about making black children. You don't care about
Facts.
circulating wealth in the community. You don't care about that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's a contradiction. First of all, because of that. Then also, like I said, I'm from Mississippi as well. Black people kind of don't care about the stuff that's going on because you were talking about slavery just got abolished in 2013. Um, like here, so in my hometown in particular, we had elections last year. They voted out, in my hometown is actually almost 80% black, so there's a lot of black people. They voted out our black sheriff and voted in a racist. He's like a known racist, and he doesn't even have any. He's as the sheriff. He doesn't even have any police training. He was the manager at the Coke plant or the Coke factory or whatever. He has no
Wow.
police training.
Wow.
Hey, Bull
Yeah,
Wow.
Connor. That's Bull Connor again.
exactly. And why do they do that stuff? It's because the white men come up there and say, "Oh, I'll let you fish on my land. Oh, I'll bring you this. Oh, if you come up here to my business, I'll take care of you." They give them a little discount, that kind of crap. So they voted out our black sheriff for somebody who's a
Yep.
known racer and doesn't even have any police experience. So that's why I'm saying it's a contradiction within ourselves because most black people really aren't concerned about black people. So that's why I feel like it's a contradiction,
Damn. She
including
cut.
as well as what y'all are saying.
Hey, you
Could
on
I
point,
could
And
I
I
say
sis?
wasn't gonna
Hey,
something?
say
yeah.
I'm
nothing.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just got in. Could I say something, please? Because she just brought up a real good point.
Hold on, hold
My
on,
name
hold
is
on,
Vernon.
hold on. Are you? Wait a minute. Wait. Kim, Kim, is that a man or is that a woman? What is Kim's? It's a woman's
Bird.
profile, but
That
I
was
hear a man
Bird.
voice.
Nah, I was Bird, man.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'm tripping.
bird.
I
They
was
gonna
gonna
That's
miss.
say, what
Yeah.
the hell? All right, before you mention something, let's stay in order real quick, bro. We got a few more people that was on stage for you, but we're gonna get to you, fam. Don't forget. All right, hey, ZB Real, did you want to touch on what the sister was saying?
Nah, man, she's hitting things on the head. I'm just when she brought that up, it made me think that because I don't know if anybody saw that they're actually debating about making Juneteenth a national holiday like they did for MLK. And my thought was because she said black people don't give a damn anyway. I'm thinking if they made it national holiday, would black people even care? I don't think they would.
the sister said, man. The sister said something. She said something that struck my attention too. No, it was ZB Real. ZB Real had no, it was Dion. One of y'all had said something that y'all asked her was she going. I mean, you mean to tell me that they gonna wake up with the white woman the next morning or the white man? Now they gonna have them at the damn Juneteenth thing on the Saturday. Gonna be sitting
Damn.
right there with them, talking about, you know what I'm saying? They celebrating the freedom of black folks, and they gonna sit up there and have that nasty white woman or that
Hey, and
damn
she gonna have
nasty ass white.
cornrows. She gonna
Yeah,
have
she gonna have cornrow with gold teeth,
Nah,
saying
nah.
mine and
Hey, nah, she
everything.
gonna have one of them African flag dresses on.
Oh man, talking about the
about
sweet
this.
milk of McNeese.
It's kente cloth right here.
Hey, so hey,
Hey,
so
Hey,
this biblical smoke. So I don't want anybody to be offended by the terms that are being used as far as interracial marriage is concerned, right? So let's get Tobit real quick. Hey, Benjamin, you want to say
Yeah,
something? Benjamin, go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about the sister. Sister Rand was 100% on point. Sis, you was definitely in the spirit on what you said. I just want to touch back on the interracial thing that you mentioned about people talk black and sleep white. If you look at the media is really what controls our people's thoughts. TV, what we hear on TV, what we may see in the news, the social media, and they determine what issues is going to be in our brain to be pushed by other black people. They will put a black face, but they will always have a white conglomerate behind that black figure that's giving you your black news or what you're supposed to be struggling about. So they push the masses to determine, they push the masses basically in the direction of what you're supposed to empathize with. You understand? Because if we look at Juneteenth, how is it that we are celebrating a holiday? All of a sudden now it's on everybody's minds. Within the last 2 years, it's on everybody's minds now. The banks was half a day off last year. That's when it started, right? Up until then, a lot of black folks didn't even give a damn or know about Juneteenth. It was always a small celebration, very small. But all of a sudden now, what's in all y'all minds? Juneteenth. You understand? So y'all got to pay attention to who's pushing it and why. Now, one other thing I want you to think about. Joe Biden got put in office in January, along with Kamala Harris. They both said America is not a racist country. Its foundation is not racist. Remember that a month and a half ago? Yeah, that's what they said, along with another a Republican politician, right? But how is it that the Asians could come get a? They have 2 bad months and have a whole campaign on the news called "Stop Asian Hate" for 2 months, barely 2 months, and get bills passed specifically for Asians. Meanwhile, we get no bill passed for 400 years, but we finally get a holiday called Juneteenth, and we're supposed to be happy and proud of that. That it makes absolutely no sense. Meanwhile, you go into Asian stores and they suspect you of stealing something. They whooping your ass. They may put a
Hurry up
bullet
and
in your
buy it.
head.
Hurry up and buy it.
You understand? They may put a bullet in your head or beat your ass up. Y'all sisters know how it goes when you go to them nail shops and you don't think they do a good job with your nails. They are whooping your ass or holding you in that store till you pay, or throwing acetone in your eyes like they did the grandmother in Brooklyn
say, I,
2 years ago. You
I
understand?
feel sorry for your mother.
bro.
Yeah, I feel sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
can
I
I
feel
say?
sorry for your mother.
I don't. I
So
don't oh, I don't want to cut you off, but one more
I'm
thing,
I'm
and I'm
done.
gonna be
I'm done. I'm gonna
quiet.
mute my mic.
But okay, one more thing I want to touch on before y'all move on from me. Since this is, I don't know the particular Bible verse, maybe y'all can help me out. But black people are scared to be like seen as radical. Black people are scared to choose us first, and that's there's a Bible verse. It says, I don't know the verse. Can y'all help me out? But it's where God says, "Be ye not double-minded." You saying, "Oh, I love black people, but I love everybody equally." No, this is your community. This is your community that God put you in. This is the community that you have. You can't say, "Oh, I love my community, but I love everybody else." That's not how it works. You can't be double-minded. You can't be loving.
get
hey,
Oh,
this
I love
sister
black
a
people, but I love
Amen.
flyer.
everybody else.
man, get that
Ah,
sister fly. Hey
And
man,
all this
listen,
kind.
sis.
You got
Yeah.
the right
So
idea.
and
He,
then,
he,
yeah,
you got the
and
right
black
idea.
people
Hey,
are so scared to be radicalized. So that's the last thing I want to say.
hey, real
So
quick,
can I
hey,
speak to
before
that?
we move on, we gonna get to your high head. We're gonna get to you here in just a minute. Hey, first and foremost, I want to plug the room. This is Biblical Smoke. You can go on Twitter and hashtag Biblical Smoke. Let us know if you're enjoying the conversation. Ask your questions, interact back and forth with one another, etc. Also, you can email us. I believe, Carla, could you tell us what the email is? Is it at Biblical Smoke? What is our email? Because Sister Ram, man, we want to make sure we get you a flyer,
If you
sis.
click on my profile pic, you'll see it. It's biblicalsmoke@gmail.com.
All praises. Contact us if you want more information. biblicalsmoke@gmail.com. E, you want to touch on something? E, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to read something real fast while the time is quiet and my job is loud as hell. So I want to read it very quickly. It's a book entitled The Peril of the Republic of the United States of America. It was published in 1899. Published in 1899 and written by a man named Percy Magan, and he was around 1867 to 1947. I want to read what he said real fast, just to show that that the so-called white man has more knowledge, or at least acknowledges things that we choose not to. Give me a second to get to the page. Okay, it says here, it says, no man can vindicate the character, motives, and conduct of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, except upon the hypothesis, meaning the educated guess assumption, that they refer to the white race alone and not to the African, that's the Negro, when they declared all men to have been created equal. That they were speaking of British subjects on this continent being equal to British subjects born and residing in Great Britain. That they were entitled to the same unalienable rights, and among them were enumerated life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So when it says all men, it was referring to the British that were living here in the continent of America, and those who are living outside who will come in. It was not referring to us. It did not refer to the Constitution. It was not referring to all men as in our people not involved in it. So let's put that point real fast. He wrote this book in 899. All right. He wrote other things too, but he wrote something else as well. But I'm waiting for y'all to bring. When y'all say it, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to wait and hold my time. That's it.
All praises, all praises. Okay, hey, look, so we want to hear from Highhead. Highhead, go ahead. It's your turn, sis. What you got? Juneteenth, a
No, I was just
celebration or a
agreeing. I'm so
contradiction?
sorry. I was literally like clicking my mic because I was agreeing what was being said.
Well, question though, Juneteenth, a celebration or a contradiction? Tell us.
Well, my perspective on it, I would feel like it's a contradiction, only because I just feel like this is another thing that they're just trying to, I want to say, capitalize on. They just want to get money from us. That's how I feel. I just feel like they're just trying to get anything that they can from us at this point. That's how I feel.
Okay. Anybody want to touch on that? Sis said they just using it to get money off of us. What do you brothers think?
May I please rebut a couple things
Yeah, go ahead,
that I
Pay.
heard?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Pay.
thank you
Yeah, go
very
ahead.
much. And peace to all y'all, peace to the mods. So firstly, I feel like if Juneteenth or any kind of collective organization or freedom from bondage in and of itself didn't matter to Black people, then Juneteenth wouldn't exist. Just because you feel me, that Black people don't care about their situation or never have cared, or that their situation may be bigger than what they can accomplish. I don't think that should stop the fact that there are Black people out here trying to do what it needs to do to be a community. There are Black people out here doing what it takes to be proud, Black and proud, and making their ancestors proud. You feel me, in the process.
Hey,
And
but
the
real
idea
quick, Pay,
that
before you move on, Pay, I don't think that's the argument. I don't think that's what is being
no,
said.
yeah,
Well,
I just want to
yeah,
touch on
but
I just want to
I
touch
just
on.
want to just one second. I'm gonna let you finish, bro, for sure. I'm gonna definitely give you your time. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that's what the argument is. The argument is that it's a contradiction. Why is it a contradiction? Because we're celebrating something that we're still in. It's supposed to be the celebration of us being released from slavery, but yet we see ourselves still in mental and physical bondage. So I think that's mainly what the speakers are speaking on. But go ahead.
Thank you. And I was just trying to touch on, you feel me, a couple of things that was said. But even in looking at the Constitution, a lot of people may say that it was supposed to be of and for white people, but as y'all know, as people who abide by Scripture and abide by interpretation of text, that if it's not there written, then you can't say that it's implied. And so nowhere is it written that only the benefits, the fruits, and the labors of America are supposed to go to the white man. If you can find that, please point that out. And to say that again, to point out all the negatives and bads that have happened, the Black Wall Streets, the O'Keefe, the Rosewoods, all the massacres, etc., and ignore all the accomplishments, all the progress, all
Like
the,
what?
like you said,
Like
Black
what?
Wall Street was a good and a bad, like the 105 or 100 plus historically Black colleges that exist and have been created
Hey,
since
what's the
Black people got freed from
curriculum?
Ho, ho,
slavery.
ho, ho,
What's the
ho, ho,
curriculum
ho, hold
of
on.
these black
Let me say
colleges?
something.
Hey, what's the curriculum of those black colleges?
Exactly.
Go ahead, Pay. Answer the
It's
question.
it's it's whatever the schools assign them to
It's
be.
white. It's white.
White,
It's
white
white people
assignments.
stuff.
Oh,
It's white
yeah,
people stuff in those
okay. So
HBCUs.
I want to touch on this as well.
Hey,
So
they,
the
hey,
idea of
they even teach Christianity in those colleges. This teaches white supremacy in the HBCUs.
And I
so
got a question for you, Pay, real quick. So of those black historical colleges, right? Because we know there are many of them out there, right? So of those black historical colleges, what are they preparing you to go and now be successful in white society? That's my question. Because when we graduate from these black historical colleges, are we going into a black society to flourish, or are they teaching us to abide by the rules of white society? Answer that for me.
I think that's a loaded question. There are absolutely people who take, and most of these HBCUs are in black communities, so they're automatically enhancing the economy of the black community that they live in just by existing. And so I think that when you say take it to go and succeed, you have people
Nah,
who
I
do
got
that
take it,
ain't right.
and
Hold on,
Hell
hold
no.
on, hold
you
on, hold on.
I
I
got
ain't never
but
met
yeah,
somebody that graduated from an HBCU and bought their house in the hood.
right.
They
uh,
ain't doing nothing for
Right.
the black
And
man.
I think that's.
where I
Can I
live,
please finish though?
real quick, and I'm gonna let you finish, bro. But where I live, I just wanted to show you the error in what you're saying, because where I live at, in particular, there's a historical black college, and 1 block away from that historical black college is some of the worst neighborhoods of the city. I mean, literally just downtrodden, dilapidated, destroyed. And in those communities, all of the corner stores are owned by so-called Arabs, right? So how is it that you're saying that because these historical black colleges are there, that somehow it enhances the community around them? It absolutely doesn't. I think we all can agree to that.
ID,
You can't say that. So most of the black doctors,
I
most
know
of the
what he's
black
saying.
lawyers,
Though I
most
know
of the black
Hold on,
engineers
let him
all
finish.
graduate.
Let Paige finish. Let Paige finish.
So
Go ahead, Paige.
most of all the upper echelon jobs, or so-called important jobs, or high skill, all that degree jobs that come out of HBCUs produce the large percentage of those black people in our community. So I don't think that it's just so much. So you can't
That's not the art,
to
but that's not
completely.
the
Hey,
argument. But that's
hey,
not the
But
hey,
that
argument.
is what
hey, real quick,
but you're saying they serve no.
Dion.
I'm almost done. I promise. I
hold on,
promise.
hold
So
on.
just just the idea that all of our accomplishments since we've been up from bondage and free ourselves. Somebody tried to dispute
like
the
what?
fact that we in fact did free ourselves, which is insane. Abraham
Like
Lincoln
what?
didn't end slavery or sign a proclamation because he wanted to. He signed it because he had to, and it was politically and wartime expedient to do that. And black men facilitated in that. And so I understand that y'all, you feel me, may have the understanding that the slave has to obey their earthly masters, but that's not what we did. And so all these HBCUs you
Hey,
see, all these black, you feel me,
hey,
billionaires and
Paige,
millionaires
did you
in black
graduate from the
culture.
HBCU, Paige? Because
I'm
it,
still in school, and
right.
I
So
am
let me
seeking
help
to.
you out. Let me help you out, Paige. So I attended Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I graduated from Florida A&M University. So let me tell you something. So when it comes to the history,
FAMU.
right? When it comes to what these brothers are saying, absolutely right. And I'm going to tell you from experience, my brother. When it comes to Mary McLeod Bethune, she had a school for girls. She integrated that school with the Cookman School for boys. Mr. Cookman, guess what? He was a white man. A lot of people don't know this. That's where
No,
you get
no,
Bethune
no.
Cookman.
No, no.
Oh, I ain't
Say ain't
done.
so.
I ain't done it. I'm not done yet. So a lot of people think that's just all Mary McLeod Bethune. No, 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 no. She integrated the school with the Cookman School for boys, which was a white man. And guess what? It was all for financial reasons. When you see Mary McLeod Bethune in Washington, D.C., taking pictures with Theodore Roosevelt, she has a statue up in Washington, D.C. Understand this. All of that was integration. Every last thing, all the curriculum was to support the United States of America. It was not to support us as being a separate, independent entity as a people. So when the brothers are saying that, it's factual, and I can even go a step up. I graduated from Florida A&M University School of Business. Now
FAMU.
there's many degrees, right? There's many degrees: business admin, accounting, so on and so on. But guess what? You know a major that was not there? Entrepreneurship. We had an elective
Damn.
for entrepreneurship. You understand? But there was no major. You know why? Because we were in partnership with Fortune 500 companies that would come to the school, and we would sit down with them at the round table. And you know what? You know what we were groomed to do? We were groomed to serve them and support their businesses. So when the men are saying this, we're not trying to come at you personally, bro. You understand? This is factual. This is factual. The way it's set up, these HBCUs, every last one of them was established by the white man. I'll take it a step up. The NAACP, established by white people. So I
Right,
know you're
right.
still in school, but understand you're not speaking to rookies. These are
and
age
and I
studied
definitely
men.
understand. But if you
So
look at
hey,
FAMU,
Hold
hold on,
but you
babe.
on,
Hold on,
hold on a
babe.
second, Pay. Let him finish. Deacon rebuttal.
Hold on. So understand this. We ain't attacking you, but we letting you know, bro. This is what it is. This is our current situation. As much as we want to act like we are not at the bottom of society, that's a fairy tale, bro. And I'm telling you, for someone, I got a degree. I went to the HBCUs. You understand? I'm able to take care of my family, but I'm letting you know, we are not taught to be self-sufficient. We are taught to integrate and continue to support the system that enslaved us. I mean, my
So
mic.
Hey,
so
hey,
so
Matt,
Matt,
before you
what does
finish, hold on.
FAMU stand for? What does
Hey, Matt,
FAMU
nothing
FAMU was
is
created by black people, and so
Hey,
was Tuskegee,
hold
brick
on,
by
one
brick,
second.
hand.
You are
Hold
misinformed,
on,
my
Pay.
brother. You are misinformed.
So
All of that funding comes from who?
Slave labor that we built. So what you talking about?
You a damn lie. You a damn lie. They
It
are
come
funded
from
by the
white people.
state. They are
Yeah.
funded by the
Where
state.
do these
Stop it,
quote
my
unquote
Man,
white
brother.
people get their
I,
money from though?
Stop
You
it,
act like
brother. You're
hey,
lying.
real talk.
You're lying to yourself,
Hey,
bro.
hey, Matt, I didn't go to a HBCU, but I do remember seeing commercials at the college that I was at, which was a white college. But I went there and I do remember seeing commercials talking about donate to the Black Historical Black College Negro Fund. They would have commercials out there to donate to those places so that they could stay open, along with state funds like Matt is talking about. I do remember seeing that.
he be
Crazy.
real.
Hey,
Let me can I
also, this is further. The Constitution was written and established in 1787, and I believe it was declared in 89, 1789. So I don't know where you can get that included black people, because during that time we were slaves, we were considered possessions. And
that.
so for you
But
to
can you
all
read to
people,
where it
all
says
men,
only white men and not black men, brother? You
hold on,
can't because
hold
it
on.
doesn't
bruh,
exist.
it says all men. We were not considered men
And
during
we're
this time.
men,
I don't know
but
what
we
this
are.
guy
It
is
doesn't matter
talking
what we
about.
consider. We are men.
Hey,
Brother,
let me
we were not considered all men. This guy, I don't know what's wrong with this. This is a stock. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. We were not considered men during this time.
What
We were
was
considered property and
fifth? One
animals,
fifth of a human
cattle.
being?
I don't know what this guy is talking about.
So what are we
We
now
were
though?
not that
He young.
Constitution. No,
He
brother,
young.
stop,
Yeah.
stop, 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 stop,
No, he
stop.
young.
In the Constitution, was not talking about no Negroes. We were niggas and slaves. This
Yeah.
was talking about all men was referred to who was written by them, not us. We were property and niggas. That's it during that time. We were not considered men or people. I know we're men, but the people who wrote the Constitution and who they wrote it for did not consider us men at that time. They owned slaves that wrote the freaking Constitution. They had slaves. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
right.
Hey, can I say something right
Hey,
quick?
real quick, I just want to read something real quick because he mentioned Abraham Lincoln, right? Let's read this by Abraham Lincoln in August of 1862. Lincoln stated, "If I could save the Union without freeing any slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do it." In fact, by that time, immense pressure was building to end slavery. So Lincoln himself, out of his own words in 1862, told you, hey, if I could do this, if I can save the Union and not free any slaves, I'll leave all them niggas in chains. So you got to ask yourself, what was the propaganda? What was the true agenda behind the quote unquote abolition of slavery? Right? You got to ask yourself, what was that true agenda? Go ahead, son.
It was what we
Hey,
fought
hey,
for.
Hold on, Pay.
no, it was the same agenda as they did with integration. To put us on the back burner and put them in front. It was economic thing. But hey, I want to just bring out. Hey, I ain't never been to no. I didn't go to no HBCU or nothing like that. I went the opposite. I went to uh, another educational system. But anyway, but but check this out though. I have done my research on it, man. And what Paige is suffering from, a lot of black people go to these HBCUs and they take pride in it. You know what I mean? They take pride in it because they thinking that it's a historical black college and it was founded by for the betterment of black people when it really wasn't. So I want to ask Paige, are you pledged any kind of Greek letter organization or anything like that?
No.
Okay, so in your HBCU, are there Greek letter organizations?
Yes.
Okay, so are these black people, black Greek letter organizations?
I don't currently attend, but yet, yes, at the HBCU I'm applying for, yes, there are HBCUs. They existed for hundreds of years, and those are also black institutions that was built up with things that we produce up from slavery, and that we absolutely have every right to
Okay.
be proud of because it's what we
Okay.
accomplished.
Hold up,
Hold on.
Paid.
Hold on.
You
Hold
didn't
on.
answer
Let
the
me. Let me.
question. You did not answer the question, Paid.
I,
In regards to the Greek letter organizations, Paid.
yes, they exist, and they have for centuries.
Okay. So,
Hey, you got
are
that.
you familiar with where these things come from? Like, say you got the Alpha Kappa Alpha, right? It was founded somewhere around 1908. You got the you got the, let me see, the Q Dogs. They was founded around 1911. I done my research on this stuff. 1906. You got the Alpha Phi Alphas and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Have you done your research and did you know that the founders of these Black Greek letter organizations were in opposition of Black entrepreneurs like Marcus Garvey? Have you done that research?
The Divine Nine was started in essence after W.E.B. Du Bois talked about the talented tenth and having a small fraction of the educated class, or I don't want to say
Right.
bourgeoisie, but echelon of Black
Yes.
America be
That's
educated, and they were all started at historically Black colleges, so they were essentially
okay.
to come in
Okay.
and
It
yes,
sounds
and
like you finna. Hey, it sounds like you finna play us, bro. You
nah,
know a little bit,
I'm
but
just
no,
giving you
check
facts because
check.
this our history though. This
Okay,
our history that
check
you
it.
trying to
Check it. No, listen, no.
degrade.
Listen, listen. I'm not degrading. I'm trying to tell you the truth about it. That these people were in opposition of Black people being entrepreneurs, and white people funded these colleges. Why? And gave these certain people who started these things certain perks in life, so it would turn the people from Marcus Garvey's, I think it what is called the NIAU or something like that, which was back in the Africa movement, and he started to turn the Black people away from being entrepreneurs, okay, and to funnel through their educational system for success. And that's what they're doing today. They are telling Black people that you must funnel through their educational system in order to be successful. And when that is untrue, when Black people was inventing things in slavery, not knowing how to read or even speak proper English, you know what I mean? So when Marcus Garvey was teaching the people that, you know what I'm saying, we need to entrepreneurship, meaning owning our own business. What did they do? They bombed Black Wall Street. They bombed anything we had. They started riots with us. They started to
Hey,
kill
they
us and
They
murder us.
exiled. They
deported.
And
They
exiled that brother.
deported
They
Marcus
exiled him.
Garvey.
yeah, they exiled them.
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
and
son of God,
these leaders, yes,
son of
sir.
God. Hey, but they left. They didn't bomb the HBCUs though.
No, they didn't bomb
Damn.
them, they did not bomb the HBCUs because this is what they're using in Black people today, and telling Black people if you want to be successful, funnel through our educational system. Don't have your own, but funnel through what we want you to learn to, so you can make us successful. Because, like I think it was EB Real or Dion had said a while ago, is that when Black people go through these HBCUs and they graduate, they are being prepped, and they are being
That was Matt. That was
preparing
Matt.
themselves to. And that was Matt that was saying they're preparing themselves for white society, not a Black one.
Right.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
when people are going into these HBCUs, now we're not knocking anyone getting their education. Get your education, but you got to know what, you know what I'm saying, the what word I'm looking for,
You got to use
the
it to help your people,
yeah, you got
basically.
to use it to help your people, man.
You got to do it
You
for your
can't sit up there and just think that you're better than everyone else because you're a Q dog, or you're not part of that Greek letter organization. They only help each other.
Hey,
You know what I'm
hey,
saying? All
hey,
this
son,
stuff.
hey, son
You're
of
right.
God. You
You're right.
also can't. You also can't think that you are not susceptible to be shot down in the street by the police, or that you are somehow repelled from going through oppression in America. Because that's what a lot of our brothers and sisters think when they join these HBCUs. A lot of them think like, oh, this now gives me some type of badge in society that covers me from oppression. When it doesn't. Go ahead, son of God. I'm sorry, because
Yeah, so this stuff goes all back into this damn secret society stuff, man. That's why they got these black Greek these HBCUs set up to funnel our most educated black men, you know what I'm saying, into their system. You know what I mean? Because if you go to the college and you stay there 4 years or however long you stay,
you are labeled as one of, especially if you graduate, you know what I'm saying, you are labeled in the class of an educated black man or educated black woman. You know what I'm saying? So what they do in they're funneling, it's like a funnel, and they're funneling you through this system. Yes,
Hey,
sir. Yes, sir.
I
hey,
just
Go ahead.
I just
real
want
quick.
before we
Okay, go ahead, Z.
uh yeah, before we moved on, because we done veered off on this thing. I just wanted to get Proverbs 3:31, because I am surprised that nobody has mentioned that these Greek organizations,
I
the
was just
Divine
about to say
Nine, is nothing but a copycat of what the white people were doing.
Stolen
facts.
by.
It's literally, yeah, because black people we didn't create the Greek language. That came from white folks, right? So now you got black, alpha, kappa. If you literally look it up, you can see how they reflect the white Greek organizations. Black people wanted some symbolism of that in their own right, and they created alphas, kappas, zetas, betas, and thetas. They created that stuff in envying of the oppressor. Read that in Proverbs 3:31.
Hey, Z. Hey,
Yeah,
also, they're now pushing LGBT with all the gay
yeah.
stuff and all of that, too.
I
That
bet it is. I bet
homosexuality
it
that
is
comes from the groups, too.
I bet it's a divine nine LGBT too. I bet. But go ahead, read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
That's biblical right there. So to even glorify that stuff that you think gives you connections because you get some more friends, you in some national organization that you pay fees to every year, you get to go out, you 52 years old, and do some dumbass line dance because you're an old ass Q dog like Steve Harvey, what I saw on Facebook. God been said thousands of years ago, envy thou not the oppressor. Read on.
And choose none of his ways.
That shuts down fraternities and sororities for black folk
Mm.
off top. You literally chosen the ways of your oppressor. Where we sitting on here talking about Juneteenth is a celebration or a contradiction. Everybody on here, oh, it's a contradiction because we still oppressed. We doing this, but you find yourself in a Greek fraternity or sorority.
Hey,
You
I,
a hypocrite.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, one more
hey,
thing,
let's
and I'm done.
absolutely.
Get my chance to
Hey,
speak too.
yeah, we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah. Hey, one more
yeah,
thing, and I'm finna let.
Yeah,
Hey,
let's
one more thing,
move the
and we're gonna
conversation.
move on.
Get some of
yeah,
the
let's
other
get we
folks
want to
on
get some of
stage.
the new people on stage.
Yeah, I think we
Charles, I
on
think Charles is
Aisha.
next.
I think we on
No, I
Aisha.
think Charles is here before Aisha, then
Okay.
Aisha next, and then we got Bird, and then Will.
Okay, thank y'all so much for the opportunity to speak. And I wanted to just thank you because I've been listening and hearing a lot of great information. But I think there is a different worldview. Like we all come from different places. And so as I was hearing the different people speak, I hear a different worldview, like they may have come from a different part. I'm actually from Houston. So for me, the question is Juneteenth, it's a celebration because of the historical part about it. It's been a celebration all of my life. You think about the Civil War and how they were taking slaves out of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, bringing all those people into Galveston Island, trying to protect their slaves from, the Union Army. And then for them to find out later that they had been free from that day forward, it's always been a celebration. Even a few years later, you may not know about these guys named Jack Gates and other people who came together to even buy 10 acres of land so that we can have something called Emancipation Park to celebrate this thing called Juneteenth. They've been doing it since the beginning because at that time, blacks couldn't integrate in the park. That's how important it was. We created other holidays too, and particularly in this area, we had the D-Row-Lock Fall Festival. They just took the word colored and spelled it backwards, and that created their own stimulus. So all of the farmers and everybody can come in and we can meet in Emancipation Park and do that. You got to look at the food that we eat during Juneteenth. It's a cultural mixing of Louisiana and this Texas thing.
Chitlins.
So you gotta hear Zydeco music. How they smoke that barbecue meat. They drink the red soda. It
Hey,
became a celebration.
Hold up.
Charles.
Let Charles finish. Let Charles finish.
Let me finish, and I'm going to somewhere. So it became a celebration. So for that historical point, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut across the field, but that historical marker is something that should be celebrated. Now, I don't disagree with all of these other things that people are saying, whether it's police or this or all of these different things I've heard about. But I just don't want to conflate those two issues and make it something like all or nothing. Like, no, let's celebrate that. But let's not. I think H. Rap Brown writes in his book, Die Nigga Die, he talks about how the revolution is not like some historical marker, but it's something that continues to evolve. We continue to press on. Even though we get I know for Texas, we've always celebrated Juneteenth. And it's been a big thing for us. And I want to see it continue on. I know we have other issues in my city, just like in other cities. Black people all across the United States are dealing with issues. But let's celebrate this as that marker. And some of particularly those that's up north, if you understand, I think Isabel Wilkins write about her migration pattern, how they went north with no slaves were freed out of Galveston, and a lot of them did come to Houston, but so many more started making their way up north. So some of you guys that's from the north, ancestors probably was in Galveston Island, locked up, waiting, don't know what's going to happen. So when the Union Army comes to set them free, it became a celebration
Hey,
that day.
Charles.
Well, first that
Charles, real quick. I got two
became, they
questions
got
for you.
put in the
Real quick.
devil's punch bowl.
I got two questions for Charles. Charles, didn't you can tell me if I'm wrong now, but didn't the governor of Texas leave y'all high and dry
Bring it
during the
out.
ice storm last year? Also, one more thing. Have you ever heard of the Devil's Punch Bowl in Natchez, Mississippi, when the Union soldiers led Union or other black soldiers that fought with them against the Confederacy, how they led them and their wives and children into a concentration camp and left them to die? That was right after the quote unquote Emancipation Proclamation or Juneteenth.
Starving.
So are you familiar with that?
You know what? I can
Yeah.
go even further with you, Dion. Are you familiar with the Louisiana Native Guards? All of these free black people that were in New Orleans area, they
Hey,
formulated their own army
real,
to
real,
fight with they started with the Confederate, then they joined on to the Union side. And you see what
And
happened to
and
them?
what those Union soldiers do to them in the
And
Devil's
I
Punch
mean the
Bowl?
same
wait,
thing.
wait,
The
wait, wait,
same
wait,
thing
wait,
you're
wait, wait.
Let
oh,
them
Lord
have a
Charles,
mercy.
dialogue.
hold up, wait, Charles. One thing that you said was that there was conflations when each thing was separately discussed, right? Another thing is that you're celebrating permissions. You're not celebrating freedoms. You're celebrating permissions. So I'm just a little
I'm a little
confused.
I'm gonna push back with you,
Wait,
but I
wait,
gotta
wait,
go to the other guy. Too
wait,
many people.
Charles, come on, we're listening to you now. We're listening to you. I'm a little bit confused as to why when the example of 10 between 10 and 20,000 souls were left for dead in a concentration camp on American soil. I'm confused how you'll just lightly go over that and say, "Oh wait, I'm gonna take it back further." So we want to hear more about this, Charles.
Okay, so I don't want to marginalize those incidents because not only did it happen there, I was just trying to say that it happened in a lot of other places as well. So it's a terrible war and a lot of things happen. I'm just saying, but let's take this moment, this historical moment when
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Charles. I can't take it. I'm sorry. I got to ask this question. So during the Devil's Punch Bowl, I think it was a 5-year event. So during those 5 years, June 19th had to pass by 5 times. Were the black people in the Devil's Punch Bowl celebrating Juneteenth?
Uh-oh.
I mean, obviously not.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
not going to
okay, okay,
disagree
okay.
with.
So Juneteenth was put in place in 1865. For a 5-year span, 10 to 20,000 black people were put in a concentration camp after helping the Union soldiers win the war. They were put in a concentration camp and left for dead. Their sons, their daughters, their grandmothers, their grandfathers, trapped inside of a swamp for 5 years. Juneteenth passed by one every year during those 5 years. Was that a celebration or a contradiction?
That's what I'm trying. Well, listen, that happened, but think about it. The war was over with. What, in April? These slaves wasn't free till June
No, 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 no,
19th.
no. I'm asking you for 5 years
I
after
can't I
that.
can't refute what you're saying because you
Okay,
stating
okay.
a fact.
So,
They did
so
celebrate
hold on. So,
1860.
if we resurrected those men and women and those children that were left for dead, we resurrected them and asked them, "Hey, you know, Juneteenth was instituted in 1865. What do you think they would say after spending 5 years in a concentration camp during Juneteenth? What would they say to us?
I don't think when you using the word institute, I don't think
Would
it
they
was
would they
just
would they
institute.
tell
Yeah, it
us?
It's
Would
was.
they
just
tell?
something that
No, you
black
see,
people
because see, this
celebrate.
is hold on, stop. I read your profile. It says you're a Bible scholar, and this is how we know that Christianity is the worst drug known to man.
Fact.
It would not allow. Stop. Let me just finish. It will not allow you to see the evils of your oppressor. It will always make you run to the small, quote unquote, victories that we think we see in society. And that's why Jesus Christ said this. Give me Revelation 13, verse 10. I got to say, I got to bring it out. I'm sorry. I've been holding back. Revelation 13, verse 10. And you tell me if you agree with this scripture or you don't agree with this scripture, because God's gets this is what Jesus Christ said. Read that for me, bro. Read.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the
So
saints.
this is faith. This is what we patiently waiting on. The Lord says in the book of Revelation, those that led the so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans into captivity and then gave them a handout or a quote-unquote gift of Juneteenth and said, hey, niggas be happy with this right afterwards, I threw 20,000 of your ancestors in the devil's punch bowl during Juneteenth. The Bible says the Most High God of heaven and earth said that those that did that to us have to go into captivity and must be killed with the sword. My question for you, because Brother Charles, I see you a Bible scholar. Do you agree with that?
You painted a false narrative. No, I won't agree with that.
Wow.
Oh man.
Damn!
Hey, let me ask Charles something then.
That's a
Charles,
false equivalency. You're trying to equate
Charles,
two
Charles,
things that's false.
Charles, let me
Hey,
ask you something. Are you a Christian, Charles? Let me ask him right quick, Dion.
Okay, I want to get back on topic, but
No,
yes, I
no,
no,
am.
this on
no, no.
topic. This on topic.
Oh no, this on
But
topic.
he's
Do you go to church on Sunday? Are you going to church Sunday?
But the
more than
white man
likely.
didn't give us Juneteenth.
Listen. Are you going to church Sunday on June the
I mean, I'm
20th?
trying to. Yes, I mean, will I go to church on what day? June 19th.
No, are you going June the 20th, Sunday, right after Juneteenth, the day after Juneteenth? Are you going to the city in the Christian church?
Sunday is not the Sabbath day anyway.
Hey,
Well, I'm asking Charles a
True.
question. I need Charles.
Yeah, I'm going to
Charles,
church on June 20th.
so you're going to go to church on June 20th, the day after you celebrate your freedom from the white man. But you're going to go right back in there Sunday. You're going to do a U-turn and go learn his religion and learn about his God.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh, you.
That's how you
Okay,
know
I
it's
want to
not
get back on
freedom.
topic.
It's
Hold
permission.
on, hold on.
You're going to do a
So,
U-turn, Charles. That's
Can,
what you're
can I
doing.
make?
No,
Can I
because
jump
you
in?
guys are trying to
Hey,
conflate two
hey,
brother
hey,
different
Child
things.
get
bugged
it.
out.
Well,
Go
if
back
you
on
allow me to
topic.
say this, and then we can
Let's
go
go back
back.
on topic.
Yeah,
Hey,
Let's go back
because
on
I'm
topic.
trying to say that these black
brother,
people,
brother Charles.
this was not an institutionalized day. This wasn't a day that people some governor or somebody allowed them to celebrate. I'm saying that when they were free, they began to celebrate. The following year, they celebrated in remembrance of what took place, and they continued on. Now, as the years went on, okay, yeah, things get sanctioned and all of these other things, but from the initialization of them being free, and that celebration,
Facts.
The following year, they began to celebrate. It had nothing to do with no governmental sanction. It had nothing to do with anything like that. They were celebrating and remembering that day
So my
that
question
they were
again.
set
So
free.
here's my question again. Those brothers and sisters that were murdered in the Devil's Punch Bowl just a few years after this happened, would they be resurrected and tell you to celebrate Juneteenth? Would they feel that they was free and they should celebrate Juneteenth? Yes or no?
You keep putting false things together to get an
Hey,
answer
so
that is
our
wrong.
ancestors that were bombed in Black Wall Street, would they, because that happened on May 31st and June 1st. So 18 days later, after they're trying to recover from the bombs on Black Wall Street in 1921, were they celebrating Juneteenth? Yes or no?
Dion, all holidays are
Bruh.
made
No,
up.
no, no.
You make
Answer the
all
question.
holidays
Stop
are
running.
made up.
Nope.
So
Answer the
I'm
question,
not
Charles. I'm
running,
gonna ask you once
but
again.
you're
Hold on, hold on,
conflating two different things. So
hold on, hold
Tulsa,
on,
Alabama,
hold on,
when you
real quick.
go,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
ask you again.
Tulsa,
Let me ask
Oklahoma,
you again. Let me
they
ask you
may
again.
celebrate.
Hold on. I'm asking you again because Juneteenth is a nationally recognized holiday. So I'm asking you a question once again. May 31st and June 1st of 1921, Black Wall Street was bombed and looted. Mass graves are still being found in 2021 of the after effects of what happened. Now, when you go there, it's gentrified with white folk. So I'm asking you now, on 18 days after that was destroyed, were the black people there celebrating Juneteenth?
Absolutely not. They probably wouldn't. They
Okay,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't even know what
So
Juneteenth was.
you now they knew what Juneteenth was because it was instituted in 1865, brother. That's
No,
almost
you you
100
you
years
talking
later.
about the institution of 18. You got that wrong, bro.
Hey, come on, man. Jay
Hey,
crazy.
hey,
Go ahead.
brother. I'm sorry.
Hey,
Hey, I
let
want
me
to read something. I want to say something real fast. This the dialogue we're having with Charles. What Charles is saying is no different from what slaves did in slavery when the white man gave us one day to celebrate. We had slaves. Nah, we work 20 hours every day, but at least we got some day. That's the same mentality. Now,
Well, it's not because Juneteenth was started by us. It
Oh
wasn't started by the white.
no, it doesn't matter. Juneteenth is nothing but a Pyrrhic victory. I'm gonna read what it means. Juneteenth is a Negro version of a Pyrrhic victory. I'm gonna read what Pyrrhic victory means because it's a celebration for naught. It's a Pyrrhic victory. It's a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that it is tantamount to defeat. A Pyrrhic victory takes a heavy toll that negates any true sense of achievement or damages long-term progress. So when you examine when Negroes got their freedoms, we were actually, like my mom said earlier, we were better off segregated and so forth and separated from these people rather than that. So
I
again, so
agree
our
with
people
that.
will sit around, our people will sit around and will celebrate whether it was some celebration or a given celebration. It was still a decline. Even after that took place, the Jim Crow, the black codes, the criminal leasing system, all of that stuff made the victory of Juneteenth a Pyrrhic victory because things that followed after made it worse, despite the privileges that Carla mentioned earlier being presented. So it is a Pyrrhic victory. A Pyrrhic victory isn't a victory at all. It's a contradiction, like the topic is. Where's my mic?
Hey,
Hey
let me
Charles, hey,
veg- let me respond to
I got
that.
a quick question. I got a
Wait, let
quick
me
question.
respond to that, brother. Because E,
Charles.
so with what you said, E, does that mean when those people found out that they had been slaves for 3 extra years and everybody was free, y'all don't think they celebrated? Y'all don't think they were happy?
Hey, BT, wait your turn, bro. We're gonna get to you.
Hey, real quick. Hey Dion, you mind if I say something real quick?
Absolutely.
Hey Charles. Hey, what does it mean to be free? Because I think that's the biggest issue right here. I don't think you understand the definition of freedom.
Well, I'm looking at the freedom of them not being enslaved at that particular time, the type of slavery. I agree with everybody when you were talking about, the mental enslavement and all of these other issues that we're continuing to fight against. I agree with that. But I'm disagreeing and saying that Juneteenth is a celebration and we should celebrate it. That's
Celebrating
all
what?
I'm saying.
What
That
what what is that? What is Juneteenth celebrating?
those people who were once enslaved were not slaved in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Locked up in some cage or chained down or anything like that on Galveston Island. They were
Okay,
actually set
so,
free.
so
So
now you're saying that they're free to run around and be hunted. Is that what you're
I
saying?
mean, if you take a person that's incarcerated and he gets his freedom papers, even though he may still be mentally enslaved or mentally doing with something, is he not free? He's free out
Hey,
of that building,
hey,
so
real
we
quick,
can't equate those
Ibuka.
things.
I got something
No,
for you,
no,
Charles.
he's out of
Real quick.
jail. He's put out. He's out of jail, put into a bigger prison. That's all he is, and
E-
with more privileges.
exactly. Ibuka, give me Matthew 17 real quick. 17 and 24. All right, we're going to see what Jesus Christ said, what it means to be free. Matthew 17 and 24.
Matthew chapter 17, verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute?
So
He
that
saith,
tribute is
yes.
going into what? Taxes to the ruling nation that's over you, paying tribute to them. Read on.
He saith, yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of the strangers?
So the kings of the earth, all right, the rightful kings of the earth are the Israelites according to the scripture. So it says, who do the kings of the earth pay their tribute money or their taxes to? He says, to their own people or to the other nations outside of their own people. Read on.
Peter saith unto him, of the strangers. Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free.
So it's telling you what, you ain't free right now. You're not free right now until you got your own. We are still under bondage. We are still under tribute to the people who enslaved us, that stole us from our homeland. So that's why we're trying to get an understanding of what you mean by freedom. We not free. So
Well,
what are we celebrating about? It's a contradiction, my brother.
that
It's a
We
text,
are
man,
not
y'all just
contradiction.
picking
took
cotton
that text
anymore,
so far out
brother.
of context.
We're
It's
not
almost
picking
funny.
cotton.
Hey,
Y'all
Matt,
took that text
let me
out of
Oh, so
context,
okay,
man.
so
That's
you
almost
take the lesser of two evils. So
Absolutely
you okay?
not.
Hey, Ibuka, could you give me another scripture before I mute my mic? Second Maccabees 4:15 and 16. Because that's just like he said, you got a defeated slave mentality. You said, well, at least we're not picking cotton, but you still on the bottom, bro. That's the point that
Well,
you're
yeah,
missing.
absolutely. I'm
Give
fighting
me,
for that, but
we're gonna read the scripture real quick. Watch this.
Second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 15. Not saddened by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Right. So we like the glory of the Grecians. Goes back to what? That's United States of America, Rome, Europe, the glory of the other nations, the Grecians in particular. Read on.
By reason whereof sore calamities came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
There it is. We have the so-called white man to be our enemy and our avenger, meaning what? He's the same person who slaved us, killed us, had us picking cotton. But now you're looking at him as your avenger because he quote unquote emancipated you and gave you a day to celebrate. So my question next would be, who is he? Is he your enemy or is he your savior? What is the white man to you, Charles? Which one? Because you can't pick both. He's either your enemy or he's your savior. Which
You
one?
know, it's like you throwing these trick questions, man. I don't
Not
want
a
to get
trick
into a
question.
biblical
Hey, I'm gonna
argument.
say straight
I
up,
know
he
this
my
room is
enemy.
called Biblical Smoke, and I could bring you that smoke. I'm just trying to say
Bring
with
it.
this topic.
Please bring it.
I'm
Then
trying
bring
to
it.
bring with this topic, man. Would you
Hey,
got celebration or
wait,
contradiction? And
wait,
so that's where
Charles.
I'm at.
Charles,
No, the
just
top.
because your oppressors pay taxes to each other does not mean that they're taking the scriptures out of context. You're simply confused.
Hey, real quick. Just because the topic is one thing, this is biblical smoke. If you got a doctrine, or if you got a question, or you want to bring some type of understanding out, or you want to combat what we're saying biblically, we don't mind you jumping off the topic to go into some other things because it's always going to come back to the topic regardless. So you said you can bring that biblical smoke. Bring that biblical smoke. We want it.
Hey,
Bring
Charles, you are a
any
Bible
heat.
scholar. That's what it says in your profile. Bring it.
Hey, I just
Bring
want
your
to say
smoke, brother.
something
So
real quick
let's hear
here.
Charles out. Let's not cut him off. So let's hear Charles out.
Nah, yeah, I'm not finna go there with you guys. I know that
We got a
Wait,
we
runner.
don't
wait,
share the same biblical
Charles.
understanding. We don't
Wait,
have the same
Charles.
biblical
Who?
view.
Wait,
So let
Charles.
me,
Who
man.
flashes
I
a
can't.
gun and doesn't use it? That's what you just did. You told us you could bring that smoke, right?
Yeah, let's bring it, man. I don't know what day I'll come back tomorrow, and we whatever the topic is, we gonna talk
Whoa,
about.
wait.
Uh,
Read.
But
Hold on.
my mind is focused
Wait.
on that
First Peter.
Juneteenth
hey,
thing.
let me bring something out. Since Charles don't want to bring the smoke, I'll bring it. So people on here, I don't know whose mic it was. Somebody kept opening the mic and said, "Black people we created Juneteenth," and Charles is talking about he likes to celebrate it, all of that. How about we actually um, go and hear from our ancestors about the actual day of Juneteenth? Um, there is a book called "When I Was a Slave." Memoirs from the Slave Narrative Collection. This book is on Amazon. It is less than $10, maybe $10 with shipping. But um, these interviews from the last generation of slaves, right before they were free, are in the Library of Congress. So these ain't made up, what we're about to read. This is our literal ancestors that were enslaved in chains, picking cotton, before they were quote unquote emancipated, right? Emancipated. I'm going to go to what they talked about in Juneteenth in this book. It's on page 80, if anyone ever gets the book. Now, on page 80, from a man named Lewis Jenkins. You know where he got his last name from because he was a slave. Lewis Jenkins. It says here, the first thing when it talks about Juneteenth, this is military law. So for whoever that keeps saying, black people, we created Juneteenth. No, you did not. Your ancestor is telling you what the white man said to him about this day. This is military law. You are celebrating something that they gave you, and we took it, adopted it, and ran with it. I'll finish it out. This is military law, but I am forced to tell you, he says, this law says free the nigger. So now you is just as free as me by this law. I can't make you all stay with me unless you want to. Therefore, you can go any place you want to. This was brought. This was about laying by drop time in June. It was on June 19th, and we still celebrates that day in Texas, Charles. That is nigga day down here. I'm going to read it again, just in case you didn't hear me the first time. Your ancestor, it was on June 19th, and we still celebrates that day in Texas. That is nigga day down here. So if you are going to continue celebrating Juneteenth and call it a celebration, just know by your ancestors it was known as nigger day down there in Texas. I mute my
And
mic.
government by government
Continue
law.
on.
Pyrrhic
And it
government
was
law.
He
government
meant government
law.
law that we were free, not that
Pyrrhic,
we had to
Pyrrhic
celebrate.
victory. Pyrrhic victory. That's my case.
Hey, it's kind of good that they call it Nigger Day in Texas because this year Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk are having a concert in Texas for Juneteenth. Two people that speak about murder. They've been involved in multiple murder cases throughout their tenure as rappers and from O Block and Chicago. So it makes sense that they call it Nigger Day back then because if you go to a Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk concert, I hope you wear a bulletproof vest.
Also, it's called nicotine. Congratulations.
Man, y'all wild up in this room. It's wild.
Hey, this the
So
This
smoke.
far,
is biblical smoke,
that's
baby. We
not
bringing
that's like y'all just
facts.
coming up. That's not no.
Nah,
I
I
mean,
got something
okay.
for you. Hey, Ecclesiastes 7
Hey,
and 7.
let me hip y'all to a
Ecclesiastes.
couple
Now
of
we're gonna
books,
help.
man.
We're
Before
gonna
I
help.
get
Now
up
we're
out of
gonna
here.
help. Now we
Let
gonna don't
me
leave. Don't leave. Hold on.
let me
Just
hip
one
you to a
scripture.
couple of
Hold
books
on.
when
Hold
he
on. Don't
brought
cut the
those out.
scriptures out. Come on, you a Christian, man. Don't cut the scriptures out. Come on, you a Christian, brother. Come
She's a
on.
Bible
Let me bring
scholar.
these
Ecclesiastes 7
books
and
out
7.
right quick.
Hold on.
Let me
Ecclesiastes
just
7 and
bring these
7.
books out
No,
right
the
quick. I
Bible
want to
trumps
talk.
all books. Hold on. The Bible trumps all books. Stop. Ecclesiastes 7 and 7.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7,
Cause,
verse
cause,
7.
cause he said we wild up in here. Let's see what the Bible say. Go ahead.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
The Bible said when you wise or when you a wise man, oppression make you mad. Juneteenth, something that we know did not help or benefit our ancestor, that was called Nigger Day by our ancestors after it was put in place by government law. The Bible says that's supposed to make a wise man mad, right? Go ahead.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
So which side are we on? Are we on the side of the one that got a little gift from Massa and it making them glad and it destroy their heart where they can't see the hate and the destruction that our oppressors have done to us? Which side are you on? Because we on the side of being mad because of the oppression.
Wait, no, we
If
all
you
mad.
still
Let's be
if you
clear.
still asking, hold up. If you still worried about and talking about celebrating Juneteenth after you see that we obviously not free here in America and we still getting ourselves shot down, the Constitution has not changed. We still 3/5 of a man. You see all these things still going on in our community. We getting gentrified, redlining is still in place. We are still being mass incarcerated. Our children are being attacked with all kind of evil subliminal messages in the school system and in the and on radio and every other frequency that you can mass media you can find. When you see that, that's supposed to make you mad. But if you say, "Oh well, thank God, Master done gave us a day where we can celebrate our freedom," bow, nigga get shot in the street by another police officer. Come on, man, stop playing, bro. Y'all
But
gotta
they
wake up
didn't
and
give us
smell
that day.
repentance,
It was started by our ancestors.
Hey, hey,
bro.
hey,
Did you not
Dion,
just hear what he
Dion,
read in the book? Oh
hey,
my God.
Dion, don't pay
That
Teach
no
the
mind,
wasn't
Dion.
what
government.
the slave
Dion, don't
said.
pay no mind.
That's not
Let
what
me
the
say something
slave
real
said.
quick.
Go
Let me
ahead,
say
Benjamin.
something
That's not
real
what the
quick.
slave said.
Hey, Dion, let me say something real quick.
Bring it
I
out.
want y'all to notice, everybody in the audience that heard Charles' response to us. I want y'all to notice he mentioned he could bring the smoke. And when we told him, hey, you're a Bible scholar, bring the smoke. We want to hear what your contradictions is in the Bible that you think we got wrong. He does not want to talk about the Bible at all. He wants to stick on just the topic, even though we will divert to deal with the scriptures with him. And he's the one that's calling himself a Bible scholar. And he should be in love with the Bible and the scriptures, but he does not. These Christians hate the Bible. Trust and believe that. They have been taught by their slave masters that have given them Juneteenth and given them Sunday worship and given them the theology degree for them to ordain themselves as, the white man to ordain them as Bible scholars and so forth. But he don't want to deal with the scriptures with us.
Hey,
Hey, I
Benjamin.
want
Hey,
you
Benjamin.
guys
Brother,
to hashtag on Twitter, Biblical Smoke, hashtag on Twitter, Biblical Smoke. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your input as
Hey,
well. Those of you in the audience who, may be too shy to come up or you didn't get a chance to come up yet, all right?
and
hey,
one more thing. If
real
you
fast,
think
real
it,
fast.
Yo,
If
this
I may,
Joey, I would like to speak.
Can I
Z,
speak,
this
BT?
this this argument is no different from when black folks given Obama was in office. We got a black man as president, and black folks was loving it, man. They was loving it in them 8 years of nothing being done, but they were so happy just to see a Negro's face or a brown face in front of them. But it's the same exact principle, same argument. Black folks was excited for that Pyrrhic victory, and then nothing got out of it. And even after, remember, they passed the anti-lynching laws during Trump's administration. Even Obama, and they even presented Marcus Garvey. Remember, Marcus Garvey, he was deported, I believe, and they presented, I think, right. They were trying to have that thing removed, and he didn't remove it, and he didn't pass the anti-lynching law until Trump, who everyone says is racist, what he was the one who was basically in office, and they passed the anti-lynching law. So I'm just showing you these are all Pyrrhic victories. It's not. It's a celebration for naught. I'm like, go ahead,
hey,
y'all.
Hey, let's
and
rotate the
it's
stage real quick. Let me hear BT next and then Joey Beans after BT.
Thank you.
Hey, before BT go, I just want to say real quick,
Excuse.
even if you don't believe your ancestors, you can Google it. They just made Juneteenth a national holiday because the House of Representatives of the United States of America just passed it on June 15th. Maybe you don't believe your ancestors, you believe the white man. They just passed it as a law for national holiday June 15th. Now you can celebrate it.
Federal law. It's
Hey,
not a law.
thanks, guys.
Hey,
Federal law.
before Joey Beans go, I'm gonna let Bird go, but go on BT.
Hey, so my thing is, um, I'd like to start by saying to what you said, a lot of us were celebrating Juneteenth way, way, way before this year when they started like saying that, right? Secondly, Juneteenth is not only about the end of slavery celebration, but it's also the remembrance that we got a long way to still go, you know, and it was past the symbolism. I do agree. And I do agree that the white man owes us more than just some little things like to what you read earlier. I was happy. I never heard that before about the oppressors and things and getting it back in blood. However, like I said, this is everyone celebrates 4th of July, but no one want to celebrate Juneteenth. Fuck 4th of July. That's not my holiday.
We don't
You
celebrate
know,
that.
and
We
to
don't
you.
say. Hey, we
So,
here don't celebrate
Yeah,
that.
we don't celebrate.
okay, good. And
Do you
so,
celebrate that?
but with that being said, that's what I'm saying. Juneteenth is not just about the end of slavery. It's also the reminding that we still got a long way to fucking go, and we have to keep fighting. And excuse my language. I'm sorry, but just I'm passionate about this.
Just a question on that,
That
but
reminder,
how
that reminder remains regardless of Juneteenth, regardless of it being established. That we have a long way to go. That's a fact, regardless of
It's
that day.
true, but black
That,
folks have cookouts for
that day
every
doesn't.
other event. Why
That
can't we
but
have one to
that day
celebrate
doesn't
something
establish
that
that day
actually is
does
personal to our history?
that. It's not personal. It was a government law. We just read it earlier. And second of all, that again, that celebration does not establish you have a long way to go. That's the given before and after that was established by government law. Says we have a long ways to go. We know that now.
Well,
Before that
but that
and
law
after
was
that, we have
just
a long ways to go.
made this year, though. I mean, I'm not worried about what they said this year as far as the law is concerned. As I said, if we were celebrating before, as soon as I found out about it, I stopped celebrating. I was already like mad that I had celebrated 4th of July ever when I came into consciousness. So that being said, of course, I'm going to be happy that the end of our slavery in this country, which, like y'all said, hasn't ended, but the cotton picking did. I mean, yeah, I'm ecstatic about it, and I feel it's something we should celebrate. Just like I'm sure they celebrated when they found out they were free. That's all I'm saying. The other stuff I agree with y'all on, but we can't just not celebrate a day that was started by our people. The white folks did not start Juneteenth.
It was not
Hey,
I
started. We
yeah,
just read it. It was not
did you ever
started by our people. It was a government law. That's not even the brother who was enslaved. He even said it. It was the white man told him that. It
They
was not
called
by
it
where can I
our
look
people.
this
Nigga
up?
Not,
I want to.
our
Day.
people do
The
not
book is
listen.
on
Nigga
Amazon.
Day.
Our people don't listen, bro. I'm telling you.
Hey,
hey,
Z,
hey,
hey, just
you
a
And this
mind
Joey
repeating
question,
that
Band.
one more time?
he gave
just a
me the
question,
book
real
when I was
quick.
They
a slave.
called it. Our ancestors said it's Nigga Day down here in Texas.
Hold up, Z. You sound a little bit low. You sound
I'm.
a little bit.
Okay.
Hey,
Let
hey,
me
I
increase
could
my
respond to
volume.
him. I think his G's low.
It
He
says
said the
that
name of the
our
book.
ancestors said it's Nigga Day down here.
What said that? I didn't hear the beginning of what you said.
The name of the book, BT, is When I Was a Slave. There is the writings of the narratives of our forefathers and foremothers.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. Can I say something or no?
Hey, just one question, real quick, because I what the brother said about it's a celebration that we got more things to do. Just what did y'all discuss last year on Juneteenth to push forward Black people to bring us into a better place? What was the discussion? Like what did y'all talk about? What did y'all put in place from last year to this year based off the last Juneteenth celebration?
Well, I'm in
June.
many different groups, but like I said, when I say celebration, that's what I mean. It's not a place for us to go and talk about powernomics and getting back together. It's literally recognizing. Now we can speak on those things and what we need to do to continue to make advances for our community by taking capital and building infrastructure. But that's not what it's about. It's literally a celebration. I don't like seeing fireworks on 4th of July, but guess what? I'm finna pop some this Juneteenth.
Okay, but this what I'm saying. They're gonna have a Lil Durk concert. His brother just got killed because of his lyrics and the stuff he talked about like 2 weeks ago. Pooh Shiesty, he just got out of jail, right? They rap about nothing but murdering black people. That's what they rap about.
I agree.
Pooh Shiesty and Lil Durk. It should be all the conscious black people should come together and shut that concert down because that's not good for Black people. And it's concerts, that's just one concert. It's concerts like that all over the United States with rappers that rap about the detriment of our people. Where are the conscious people that are for black people not letting these concerts go through? You know, they're the promoters of the concert to let you know it's a big contradiction. It's all about money. Let's have fun. Let's forget about the oppression that we in. You can't tell me that going to a Pooh Shiesty and a Lil Durk concert is something positive for black people. It's just somebody
Um,
gonna die. I guarantee you.
I
We're gonna
agree.
So
after this week,
let me
we're gonna
That's
interject.
the
talk
problem
about
with
it.
the symbolism of it.
Somebody listen to me. Somebody is gonna die at a Juneteenth celebration this year. I guarantee it.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? So it's all our perspective, right? So I'm
Yeah,
gonna give
don't
you
put that.
a vantage point, having traveled the country, the world, right?
Wait your turn, Kay. It's not your turn yet. Let's move on. I believe. Let me see. I believe Berg wanted to speak. Berg been on for a while. Oh no, excuse me, Aisha. I'm sorry, Aisha. Go ahead, sis.
Thank you. And good evening to everybody on the stage, to the brothers and sisters. Thank you for inviting me. My perspective on this is a definite contradiction. And I say that because just now coming into the truth and learning a lot about my history, I'm about to be 40 this year. And a lot of these things I'm learning within like the last couple of months. And with Juneteenth, I've learned about that about 2 years ago. So from the community that I came from, a lot of these things aren't even known, talked about, taught, any of that. So to speak on what Sister Rand said earlier about us not caring or our community not caring, I think that comes from, or in my perspective, because we don't know and we weren't taught and it's not being taught. And as the generations get younger and younger, they're not being taught. So the care and the respect and things like that for any of our history is just not there. Nowadays, it's just about self, what I can do for self, how I can get the bag, how things like that. So when it comes to this type of topic, um, I think it's a lot of the cognitive dissonance for some people, a lot of conditioning. Um, a lot of psychological and
Sis, hold
biological
up, sis.
warfare.
You gotta explain that. That was a heavy thing you said. Cognitive dissonance. Can you please explain or elaborate on that a little bit further for those that don't know?
Amen. Yes.
Um, so for our older community, they had, if they're brought up a certain way, knowing this certain type of living or this certain type of information, to introduce new information, it's rejected. It's not easily accepted. It's not understood, and they try to make reasons for why their understanding and what they know is what it is, as opposed to opening up and really getting into like the thinking about like where things begin. Why do you do this stuff? Who taught you this? They don't want to accept that it's like it's always been this way, or my mom taught me, or it's been in my family, or this is what we always done. So it's hard for them to accept when something new comes along and say no, that's not what it was, or that's not what it is. It's just it's a shutdown. They don't want to accept it. It's not that. So you got to combat with that part, with just getting them to accept the new information so we
Facts.
can move forward.
Could I bring out some more history here? This is ZB Real. Just wanted to bring out some more. If
Before you go,
Aisha was done.
before you go, ZB real. Can we finish Aisha out real quick, and then I want to
Yeah,
get your
I
history.
didn't hear it no more. I thought she was finished. Go ahead,
Oh,
sis.
you done, sis?
Just the last thing, coming into the truth so far, I think right now my state of mind is Ecclesiastes 1:18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. Because some of these things, like I said, I'm just now learning, and I'm almost 40. And I didn't get a chance to teach my children. Like I have an older son that's 24, who's in the world, and it's hard to talk to him now on this level, or even to get him to understand what we're really going through in this life, as opposed to what we thought we were going through in this life. And I think that's another thing that a lot of our community is also going through when they have to hear this type of stuff, the sorrow that's felt. And it's like, I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of having to experience more sadness or more bad things. So they just shut it out. And it's all about, what I can do for me and mine moving forward. So I think if we, just can get past that part and see past the sorrow and work together finally and not be in a it's all about me world like we've been taught, we may be able to, make some steps forward. And I'm mute.
Okay, I think Bird is up. I let Bird go before I pull it out because he been waiting.
Yeah, let's go, Bird.
Okay, I was muted. All right, how y'all doing tonight, man?
Hey, you see the smoke is here, so we all right.
I just got back from Las Vegas. I had a little birthday trip, and while I was out there, my last day out there, I found out today that one of my friends got shot and killed in Atlanta. Yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all this stuff, that we talking about, it is passionate to me too because I've had my eyes open from my wife introducing me to, the truth, the word of God or whatever. And we've been married like 7 years, and I didn't just got I feel like I got a third eye open now on like as far as like how the world is set up to work against us. And the first thing I want to bring up is public school. And the fact that it's something I just found out this year. It was 450,000 slaves that came from a transatlantic slave trade to North America. It was more than I think 5 million slaves that went to South America. And we all came from the same place in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And in school, public school never tells you that all of these slaves went to South America. It's not taught in the history books or nothing like that because I feel like it's a reason there to keep that separation between our people. You know what I'm saying? Even from North America to South America, because they have this people over there in Brazil in particular, they call them Afro-Brazilians. And they basically black Americans, like they look just like us. They got hair like us, everything. You can't even tell the difference because you could tell the difference between somebody from Africa, from a different part of Africa, and a black African.
Facts.
We look different. We from different tribes as far as, the Bible goes. And a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, they've been working on us forever. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring up. 'Cause I didn't hear anybody say that. Another thing I wanted to bring up is the mass media and the fact that it's only 6 companies, bro. 6 corporations in America that control over 90% of everything that we watch on TV, the internet, the stuff we see on the phones. Because people forget, like, for example, the internet in America doesn't show you the same shit as the internet over there in China or North Korea or Russia. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get the same type of news, the same type of cable television shows. Like, they don't have NBA on TNT showing over there and stuff like that at peak times. Like, even in Japan, like in the peak time, 9 o'clock at night, they might be showing Dragon Ball Z or something, or some kind of anime show. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand, like, even with your phones, bro, like, it's a thing called the algorithm. It basically is a robot that watches every single thing you do on your phone. If you look at porn, it look at what kind of porn you look at, how long you looking at it, down to the second. You feel me? Every time you search something on the internet, every time you buy something from Amazon, you buy something from eBay or whatever, when you see those ads popping up, yes, we being tracked. You feel what I'm saying? And they only show you things that they know you're interested in because it's all about keeping you a freaking robot and taking your money. See, the one thing that we forget in this world is we always talking about black and white, but
Hold on.
really it's really rich versus poor.
Hey, hold on, Bird. Hold on. Before you continue, I want to hear what Z was going to bring.
All right.
Because you definitely went on a tangent there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to go back because we got to state facts here. Especially if you're on the defense of it's a contradiction, right? I just wanted to go to the Britannica. All right, Encyclopedia Britannica. I'm gonna read this real quick, and then I'm gonna give you the scripture. Ibuka, if you get Amos 5 for me. It says in 1863, during the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared more than 3 million slaves living in the Confederate States to be free. More than 2 years would pass, however, before the news reached African Americans living in Texas. It was not until Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865, that the state's residents finally learned that slavery had been abolished. The former slaves, listen to what the former slaves did. The former slaves immediately began to celebrate with prayer, feasting, song, and dance. That's exact. It says it right here. This is historical, right? Now check this out. This is how we know our people. You don't know who you are in the Bible, and nor do you study it to understand that God is not pleased with the things that you are happy with. The things you celebrate, he cast them behind his back. Here's proof of it. Give me the book of Amos, and I want you to read chapter 5, and I want you to read verse 21, and I want you to read down to verse 24.
The book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days.
Stop right
And I
there.
will.
I'm going to read it again. Juneteenth. The former slaves immediately began to celebrate with prayer, feasting. Read what God says about black folks' feast days that they made up. Read.
I despise your feast days.
Okay.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
Keep reading.
Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not.
Hold on. That's what Charles was talking about earlier, right? He said they smoked that meat on that bread, on that grill out there in Texas. God said, I hate it. Because you ain't doing, you know what you're smoking on them grills? Pork.
Yeah.
The defiled abomination of pork. You're smoking pork on the grill. Keep reading.
I will not accept them.
He won't?
Neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beast.
Uh-huh.
Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
Stop right there. I'm going to read it again for you. June 19th, 1865, the former slaves immediately began to celebrate with prayer, feasting, and song. What did God say about us singing to him? Read it again.
Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
Yeah, that wasn't nothing but noise to God.
Wow.
Looking up from the heavens like, what the hell are y'all celebrating free from being slaves? Nigga, you still in the same place that I sent you to. You ain't came back home. Why you celebrating being a slave in a land that is not yours? This ain't our land, and you're celebrating what E said. E, are you still there? What's that term you said? It's above my pay grade, but I want to know what that word was. If E comes back up, man, remind us of that word.
It is a Pyrrhic victory.
But it's something you leaving
Pyrrhic
out.
victory. There we go.
It's
So
something
it's that.
you leaving out, though, my man.
So hold on, I'm gonna finish reading this scripture. It says, "Take away from me thy songs." God didn't want to hear you singing on that day. Keep reading.
For I will not hear the melody of thy vows.
God didn't hear that beautiful voice that you black folk got. God said, "Oh my goodness, this is like noise to me. It's like somebody waking you up out of his sleep." It was terrible to him. What
Brother Z, is this
read
for
verse
all?
24.
What you talking about?
Verse
Christmas
24.
Hold on, BT, hold on. I answer your questions after. Read verse 24 now. What does God really want?
But let judgment run down as water.
Stop right there. Now, Judd was going into that earlier about the dudes they're going to have singing at these Juneteenth days. Ain't no judgment coming out of you black folks. Not at all. These little young niggas literally sang about killing black folk, shoot your mama in your face, impregnating women, not taking care of the baby, all of the above. And ain't none of you black folk out there saying we don't want them up there. You do not let judgment come forth.
Bring it out.
That's why God, I don't want to hear nothing y'all ass got to say. You are hypocrites to the 10th power. Keep reading.
But let judgment run down as water, and righteousness as a mighty stream.
Give me Deuteronomy 6 and 25 to show what righteousness is. This is the righteousness run down as a stream. This is what God wants. This is why when you get to singing these Negro coon songs, because you're singing it to white Jesus. You ain't singing it to the black God that sits on the throne that killed everybody in the beginning. You're not singing to the black Jesus that said I only came for the house of Israel. You're singing to that white Jesus that loves everybody and is effeminate as hell with dog hair and pale skin that the white man gave you. That's who you're singing to. God said, I ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. Let judgment rain down and righteousness as a stream. Read what righteousness is for me, Booker.
Deuteronomy 6, verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God.
That's what God said. Let righteousness run down as a stream. God said, keep the commandments. That's what I want out of you. I don't want to hear your damn singing. I don't want to see you smoking no pork on no damn grill. I don't want you out here dancing. God said, I want you to keep the commandments. That's what he wants. So this whole Juneteenth thing is a farce. You're literally doing it to please your flesh. You ain't doing it to please God at all.
Yeah, right, bro. Can I get back in here? So that scripture in particular is talking about a couple of other things too that a lot of us black people have been fooled by, which is Christmas, Halloween, all those
Exactly
pagan
right.
holidays,
Valentine's Day,
Valentine's Day, those pagan festivals
not
that represent
Juneteenth though.
another God, which is not the true and living God. They represent a deity or some sort of made up ass God that was, of course, made up by the Roman Catholics, and their yeah, and all that. Those birthdays is Jesus wasn't born on down December 25th, and that's Saturnalia actually,
Okay,
and
okay.
the thing
Hold,
is,
hold on. Let me hear from BT real
hold
quick. Let me hear from BT because we
on,
got BT. Let me hear from
No, we
Amari.
good.
yeah, I'm gonna come back on.
Oh, hey guys. Thanks for the opportunity. Um, I appreciate it. So, just to your the topic really quick. And I think Pete was here earlier, and I had something to say about him and the with the HBCUs, but I'll bring that up anyway. But yeah, being a celebration or a contradiction, I think maybe there's another one. I think if you look at it from the point of view of Thanksgiving, I think this it could be another one like is Juneteenth a day of mourning, right? So I know some Native Americans actually in America, consider that day, Thanksgiving, a day of mourning. So there are various tribes that do that, and obviously many of us on this clubhouse room right now actually probably celebrate Thanksgiving, right? And I do as well. So it depends. I mean, again, celebration is one of those things that um, it's any moment that we can actually bring our families together, our community together, to break bread. We should be able to celebrate that. It's not a negative thing per se. And when you look at it from a practical sense, I mean, in theory, when you want to look at it from how it actually originated, I would say, yeah, it's a contradiction, right? Obviously, it's a contradiction, just like many holidays are. So in that respect, I would say, hey, it's wrong. I mean, but again, at the same time, if you look at this from how cancel culture has now come to be something that's like, affecting all these celebrities. Yeah, 30 years ago when they originated, something maybe many, many years ago, they
said something that was wrong, or the way this institution started was wrong, or anything, or the way the company was founded was wrong. Maybe they ousted their, whatever, their initial founders, and they did some bad practices. However, can companies or people, or even our institutions, from colleges or even holidays, can they be rewritten? And I don't think anything is just.
They can, but bro, it's more than that. When you looking at the word of, like, if you want to look at it in a spiritual sense, like, it's a
Sure.
spirit that comes with that
Hey, let
stuff.
him
Because
finish. Let him finish, Bird. Let him finish, bro.
No, that's you. No, you're right. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is, especially for a guy like me, I have kids. We want to find opportunities, and we don't have many. Obviously, I grew up in an era where, even Martin Luther King Day wasn't something that we got a day off for, right? Or many of the holidays, it wasn't no damn, February month off, month, not month off, but celebration of black heroes or innovators or anything. So that kind of thing, finding the little positives that we have that come up is not. I'm not saying just take whatever scraps that you get. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say that is that when we actually all can agree as people, as black people, to say, okay, yeah, this is a day that we can come together. We agreed to do that, right? We're agreeing to come together, and we're going to take this day, and we're going to say, I'm not going to go to your, whatever it be, from your work. I'm not going to go to your office. I'm not going to go here. We're going to come together and celebrate and break bread. That's something to celebrate, because it is a
Facts.
moment. You understand what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying in that regard. I don't want to dismiss how it actually started, and I actually want to make a point back to the whole HBCU thing. So now I get the fact that, you know, I'll just let's look at Morehouse, for instance, right? It's an institution I attended, and so I'll just go there. But you have, I think his name is Reverend William something or another. He founded it, but then he founded Augusta Baptist, whatever it was, and then he moved it to Atlanta. And I think Henry L. Morehouse, which is another white person, um, who the school is named after. Many of the HBCUs are named after them. Um, it's founding us. Come on, we know that Spellman's white person. It, we're not. I'm not saying we are condoning that. Like, that's not something that we're cool with as far as being black people. But being a black person from the neighborhoods I'm from, I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in East New York, and I would say that, you know, going to these institutions was an actual thing that it gave me, like, literally instilled some confidence in me that I probably would have never had, because I was surrounded by things that were not necessarily uplifting to me, right? So being able to experience, a place where I could feel some sense of comfort, still feel a sense of comfort because I'm around my people, but at the same time, they're pushing you to get a higher education, and they're pushing you to actually see things that's, outside of even your box, or even outside of your bounds. That was huge for me, and so I'm never, from a practical application sense, I'm not going to knock it. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't go Greek or anything like that, because I just was like, that was too much for me. But that, I mean, again, some people, you can't you can't knock those things, because I find the people who went Greek, parents were probably Greek, right? Or cousins, or if they had some kind of, and a lot of times, like, I found that the people who were in the South went that way. So it's sometimes built into your culture, or maybe you want to call it your heritage, or your family upbringing. I don't know, but that's not something that I went for, so I won't really speak on that. But again, I would say that, what the only one point I would make is, is to say, even with the fact that we have this, Henry Morehouse and all those people, I just think that we as a people really, really need to start to recognize, like, there's other, and I don't want to even talk about, like, just random people like Jay-Z or anything like that. I'm talking about people who were born in the 1800s, like O.W. Gurley, right? Who, and Jeremiah Hamilton, and Lewis Howard Lattimore. These people born in the 1800s, inventors, business owners. These are the people who should be recognized, celebrated, um,
And maybe on a day like this, we can actually make, if we're going to use Juneteenth for something, use that day to kind of highlight these types of people. Because why? One thing that's going to, when you could say, I don't know if it's a word, but unoppress us is going to be being able to establish ownership. Ownership is the key, right? Being able to own and be an inventor and be an innovator. Those are the things that's going to actually allow us to break, what do you call it, be free or break the chain or what have you. So, and these are the people who've done that in the hardest of times. Before the anything that happened in 1900s. These are people born in the 1800s, literally. And you should, I mean, look, obviously O.W. Gurley was involved with the Black Wall Street, and Jeremiah Hamilton was recognized as one of the only people from the who's only black millionaire on the stock exchange in New York City. And Howard Lattimore was an innovator, and he obviously didn't get credit for it. But he's recognized, if you look these people up, which they're not really, obviously they're not being, they get really little credit for what they've done. But point is that this is the kind of stuff that we can do. We could break those chains, build legacies, and I think that if we can use Juneteenth for something, we can use it to actually bring light to our culture, our history, our hidden history, so to speak. And I'm done.
May I? This is our hidden history. I want to
Okay,
jump in.
Check it
Hello?
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me go.
I'll be quick. I understand what he's saying in terms of schooling and being educating and so forth, because many of us, I'm from New York as well, the Bronx, so I understand. And I have family in Brooklyn, so I understand that they go to school, they find a highway to educate themselves, and a lot of the institutions that were established to help them educate themselves and get out of that came from white folks in the past history. And I understand, granted. Um, the only issue he also mentioned about the Thanksgiving and so forth, and how Native Americans mourn it. The Native Americans actually considered a day of mourning, and they protested, and they wanted to be removed entirely because it's offensive. Because people are celebrating the celebration that was by their victors, celebrating the murder of them. So it is mourning for them, but they want that day to not be celebrated at all. They do consider it a day of mourning. They don't celebrate it; they just consider it a mournful day because it was a day celebrating the death of their ancestors. And so on that point, the two are a bit different in terms of education. Educate yourself, because of course here in America, and us being in America right now, we have to use or utilize what was presented to us, in terms of higher learning to get ourselves somewhere while in this present world. However, that can't be compared to the celebration of Thanksgiving or Christmas, and the pagan origins that precede it, because of the fact that those things are by choice. Like we said, we should celebrate it and make it about something else. No, the origin is wicked. It is what it is. If you give me Sirach 32:17 real quick, please ask for 32:17. This is what we tend to do. Thanksgiving is if you want to choose to celebrate or spend time with your family, you can do that on any other day that aside from the one that is prescribed. Thanksgiving is reserved. Christmas is a day that's reserved. 4th of July is a day that's reserved. These are all days that are presented to us, and we accept it, and then we put excuses on top of it. Some of us who have knowledge and are conscious to a degree of knowing the origin of these days and knowing the evils or the pagan rites that they come from, will say, "Well, I know it's wicked. I know Valentine's Day is wicked. I know Christmas is wicked and pagan and demonic and hate is against God, but I do it because." No, that's the problem. That's the problem with us. Get Sirach 32:17, real quick.
The book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 17. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
So one of the things about people is that you'll share information like Christmas is Saturnalia, Thanksgiving is the Native American massacre, 4th of July is the independence of one oppressor from the other. So we'll say, well, the reason why I do it, Halloween is the worship of Samhain, another witch god. The list goes on and on. And so when it comes to in this present time, going to school and educating yourself to get whatever, which can be used to utilize to help your people, That's one thing. Okay, despite the origin of it, that can be utilized. There's no way to utilize Thanksgiving, Christmas. You can celebrate that regarding family because you can celebrate family or spend time with family any other day than the ones that are prescribed. You don't have to celebrate things. You don't have to spend time with family on Thanksgiving. You can spend time with family on a day that you make, that you decide, hey, let's choose this day and hang out together. Let's just make this our family day. It can be that you make your own days. You don't have to use the day that the white man gave you and then create an excuse behind it. That's what the wrong is. That's what we tend to do. We tend to do that as a people. We'll recognize, we'll be conscious of something that's wrong, but then we'll do it anyway. Going back to sister's point earlier about cognitive dissonance. That's what that is. Well, I know cigarettes cause cancer, but they keep me warm in the winter. It keeps me from punching people. It keeps me from punching people in the face. It keeps my stress levels down. That's why I do it, despite it being cancerous. So these are things that we got to learn to come out of. That's why I scripture say, a sinner finds an excuse according to his own will. You got to come out of that mentality. I'll be in my mic now.
So to really put it in perspective, you've got Debbie Du Bois, you got Betsy Washington, you've got MLK, you've got Malcolm X. Two opposite positions as it relates to encouraging and liberating black people. You've got someone like Marcus Garvey that had a Pan-African view, and at the time, he was shunned by a lot of black leaders because it was on a different scale of what was perceived. We talk about Christianity, and you really understand the nature of that. You look at Catholicism, which was the initial foundation until the Nicene Conference came into perspective, and Constantinople said, you know what, we've got to put some teachings together that can unify the Christian believers. And so there was a point where there were certain truths, certain realities that were taken and put in perspective to unify these folks. Then you've got someone like William Shakespeare, who was a great poet, that was part of the people that interpreted and gave us the King James Version of the Bible. And so what you have happening, there's a debate.
No,
Whoa, wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
Oh, that's
No,
absolutely wrong. That part. The Shakespeare thing is wrong.
no, no,
That's
no,
entirely false.
no. William Shakespeare was part of the folks that was part of internalizing and interpreting the King James Version that up until 20 years ago was in 90% of the black churches.
No.
Do you
No, brother. He was
Zondervan.
not. Shakespeare is not involved in that whatsoever.
no,
He's
no,
not
no.
involved in that whatsoever.
So are you saying that King James wasn't part? William Shakespeare was not part of interpreting and writing the King James version of the Bible?
No, he was not. He
No.
had 47, he had
Oh,
52
wow,
scholars, and out of the
Here we
52, he
go.
had
I got it
47 that
for you.
remained in the work.
wow.
No.
Yeah. Here
Are
we
you?
go. I can read it for you here.
Please read it.
Hey, Booker, you can read it. You read it, man. If you got the Zondervan, Ibuka, you can read page 86,
Yes, sir. I got it.
where it describes about the King James Bible. Can you start from the top and read down to the 47 part?
This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 86, King James Version. When Elizabeth died in 1603, the crown passed to James I, who had been king of Scotland for 37 years as James VI. Several months after he ascended the throne of England, he authorized a new translation of the Bible to replace the bishop's Bible.
Now it's a historical fact here that is going to show you who he authorized to translate. King James didn't write the Bible. Shakespeare didn't either. He is going to tell you who actually he authorized to translate the Bible. Read that next part.
47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars of the day were divided into 6 groups.
That was
Three
not
for
Shakespeare. Shakespeare was not a Hebrew or a Greek scholar at all of the Bible. This was 47 of the best Hebrew and Greek scholars that did what? Continue reading.
3 were divided, 3 for the New Old Testament, 2 for the New, and 1 for the Apocrypha. 2 of the groups met at Oxford, 2 at Cambridge, and 2 at Westminster.
So
When a group
you can keep reading that on your own if you buy you one on Amazon, but that's a false
narrative that's pushed in the black community that Shakespeare had anything to do with it. Why? Because it's written in Old English, which Shakespeare spoke in that same time. That was the common language of the time. That wasn't just solely for Shakespeare the way he spoke. All people spoke that way during that time. So that's a false narrative that has to be cast out of the minds of black people that Shakespeare had anything to do with the writing of the Bible. It was authorized by King James, a black man. He chose 47 Hebrew and Greek scholars. I mean, my mic. Kay, you back on?
Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, sorry for that. So being back on, right? So there's a couple things you guys talked about tonight, right? That's very intriguing. Having once again traveled the world and seeing the contradictions and celebration in what we do in the black community. If you go to Arab nations, you have Shiite and Sunni Muslims. They interpret the same scriptures and take a different, well, not scriptures, they don't call it scriptures, but they interpret a different reality of reading the exact same book. And so there's no different what Arabs do, what Christians do, and what Buddhists do. You have different sects. And in India, you have different realities of Shintoism and Hinduism because there are different interpretations. And each person is in their perspective, because it all comes back to perspective. Based on your perspective, based on your education, based on your surroundings, based on your social order, it defines how you interpret the reality of what you read, what you see, and what you understand. Hey, so Kay, I want to pause you right there because I know that you're making a point, and there is a clear difference between the interpretations of Christians and the interpretations of the Sunnis and the Shiites, and that difference is, when Muhammad created the Quran, it was based off a recitation. There was no how would I put it? There was no actual translation, or how do I put it? I mean, stuff was being made up there, and you have the religions that follow that. Now, when you have Christianity, they do have the text that is true, but they are taught religions to contradict the text. It's two different things. Right. That's right. So the point I was going to was here, more so than any other country in the world, you have Lutherans, you have Baptists, you have Pentecostals, you have Southern Baptists. Whatever those different. I don't want to say per se sects, but denominations. The terminology is used in America. You have these different denominations, and these different denominations are espoused based on the internalization and interpretation of the exact same text. So, based on how someone perceived that, based on their socioeconomics, you have Methodists, AMEs, based on how you perceive and internalize your experience, is how you perceive that. You take two people that read the exact same or see the exact same movie and take two completely different things away from it. Same thing when it comes to the Christian faith. No, no,
Let me clear that up.
that's not the same thing, Kay, because
Let me clear it up.
again, the Methodists and the AME, they're not internalizing anything but what their oppressors teach them. They're not
Right.
internalizing the text at all.
Please let me clear that up for our brother K too, because he's here to learn.
So what happened is when you adopt and the Christian faith from the European perspective, it is totally coming, whether you are an AME, whether you're a Methodist, whether you're a Baptist, you're internalizing that perspective from the religion that was adopted here in America in 1700s. And so those are different derivatives. And so based on those different derivatives, at that point you have these different denominations. So hey, hold up, Kay. Let's clear it up, because again, you're incorrect. Each of those different delineations of religions are from the oppressors. Black people didn't make up those separations. The oppressors did.
Who is it? Charles Parham with the Pentecostal? That didn't come from
Yeah.
black people. That
Hey,
came from a white person.
hey,
We
ZB
got
real. I'm sorry, I mean cut you
Yeah,
off, Carlisle. ZB real. Were
go
you
ahead.
about to read those? Because I got them. I got them loaded up for you.
Nah, go
The
ahead and bring
man-made
them out.
religion. Yeah. Okay. The man-made religions. Let's start with John Smith, who created the Baptist religion. That was in 1608. John Smith was an white man, or so-called white man, or Esau, according to the Bible. Charles Parham created the Pentecostal religion in 1901. Joseph Smith created the Mormon religion in 1830. We were still enslaved. Charles Taze Russell created the Jehovah's Witness religion in 1872. We were still enslaved. William Miller created the Seventh-day Adventist religion in 1863. All of those denominations were started by Caucasian men during the time of our enslavement. So I just mean
So the belief system that you guys have espoused tonight is a derivative of something that's been created, not per se in a denomination, but a intimate understanding based on purely the scriptures that has been adopted by.
no, no. Let me help you. Let me help. Well, CB Ray, go ahead. I know you want to help him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So I was just giving you a few scriptures here. Second Peter. If you follow along, okay. Second Peter chapter 1, and let's read verse 20.
Second Peter chapter 1 verse 20. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
Okay, so no prophecy of the scriptures is a private interpretation, meaning what? That a Sunni cannot read this book and see something different than me, or a Christian in Baptist church cannot read the same scripture and see something different. Um, per, Perception is not reality when it comes to the scriptures. Okay, for this reason, jump back to Ephesians chapter 4, and I want you to read verse.
The book of Ephesians chapter 4 verse 4. There is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling.
Keep reading verse 5.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism.
That's why Peter said there is no private interpretation. There's one Lord, there's one faith, and there's one baptism. That all means what? There's one understanding. This is the only people that will be able to get that one true understanding of the book. Let's go back to the book of Amos where we was earlier. Let's read who will have that one understanding of the faith of this Bible where we will all see the same thing. Amos chapter 2 of chapter 3. I want to start there first. Amos chapter 3 verse 7.
The book of Amos chapter 3 verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets.
God reveals his secrets, that one faith, that one understanding, that one baptism unto his prophets, where they will all see the same thing from Genesis to Revelations. There will be uh, uh, no different interpretations, no different background. It don't matter. Once you come into the understanding of this book, you will have one thought of it, right? Now, jump back to chapter 2 and read verse 11 to show who those prophets are that will be on that one page with the scriptures. Read that.
Amos
2 and 11.
chapter 2 verse 11. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, saith the Lord?
Now, those children of Israel, you have to know who they are today in order to have that one understanding, that non private interpretation, where if you read it, I see what you see.
precept upon precept. You read it, I see it, the same thing, precept upon precept. The children of Israel are the prophets of God. That is why a Sunni Muslim will read the same book we got and see something completely different. God has not revealed his secrets to the Muslims,
That is a
to the
that is
to the
a,
descendants of Ishmael. He did not deal with them ever at all.
that's a
And
very
that's why you will get a Christian that will read the Bible. They have no understanding of the Bible at all. Why? Especially if they're black or Hispanic or a native Indian Christian, they have not come into the secret that they are the children of Israel, that they are the true prophets of God. They are literally reading the Bible with eyes wide shut. So once they come into that understanding of who they are, then they will have that one, they will understand that it's one Lord, it's one faith, it's one baptism, it's one God, and he's Father of all the Israelites, and he's above all, and he's through all, and in us all, and there will be no different private interpretations. So if you go anywhere outside of learning the Bible from an Israelite, a man that understands that he's an Israelite, you're always going to get the wrong interpretation.
I think that is a very valid point. You mentioned Peter. So the Catholics consider Peter as the very first pope, which is a very interesting interpretation. So any
None
Catholic,
of them are the prophets of God, so that is
man,
absolutely wrong.
well, no, so I'm saying Catholicism. I don't agree with their theology in any capacity, but I'm going somewhere with this. So the Catholics consider Peter the very first pope. Catholicism started the original dynamics of the Christian faith. Constantinople, having the Nicene Conference, at that point took the scriptures, the manuscripts that were in place, and came up and said, look, we need to create a canon of these 66 books. So from the beginning, there were a multitude of books outside of those 66, but they said, you know what, we need to condense these 66 books into a guide of keeping our belief faith system together.
Okay, what's your
And so,
point, bro? Come on, stop. What's your point? You spewing out all these quote unquote facts. What
well,
is your point? You're just going on and on and on. Give us something. What's your point?
well, I'm going with the point, but I think anytime you want to create a point,
Yeah,
you
but
can.
you're going around the world. You see how CB Real got straight to the point,
Right,
went
right, right,
straight to the scripture to give understand. Just tell us what it is you're trying to say.
right. So get to the point. So what I'm saying is to create a foundation of what you consider facts or reality, you've got to set a basis of what you're using as a point of reference to define your argument.
I'm sorry, bro. I couldn't do it no more. He wasn't saying nothing. Can we move on? Joey Beans, I think you were next. Joey Beans, go ahead, bro. Next. Joey Beans, you there? You may be muted, bro. Hey, while we waiting on him, a hashtag biblical smoke on Twitter. Oh, hey, you call out, you there? All praise. I thought you was out. Go ahead, call out, handle it.
Yeah. Hashtag biblical smoke on Twitter. Also, send us an email, biblicalsmoke@gmail.com. And also follow the club at the top with the little greenhouse, Biblical Smoke. And let's tap in. We got Hezekiah, because I know Joey Beans ain't ready yet. We got Hezekiah. Hezekiah Ben, what's going on, brother? Okay, Hezekiah Ben going once, going twice. All right, we'll go to Truly. Truly.
Yes. I just want to say that Juneteenth is a contradiction because I don't feel like our people even realize what freedom is. Like, we don't want any of their money. We don't want anything. We don't want a community. We want a country. So I don't think they understand what freedom is. And I wanted to read Limitations 4 and 17.
Okay, that was right to the point. Okay, let's hear that. I wonder what that's.
There we go. We can work with this sister. She ain't going around the block and giving us the background, everything. I like that. Straight to the point.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet filled for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. Hey, I agree with that. That's a heavy script right there. A lot of us as blacks and Hispanics, the Israelites, we need to take heed. Some of us need to print that out, put it on our damn door or our refrigerator where we can see it every day, so we can stop trusting in the things, the crumbs. Hell, it ain't even crumbs. It's the vomit that America has given us, and we have turned the vomit, the abominations that they've given us, and we turned it into soul food. That's the
Bam.
same thing we with Juneteenth right here. It ain't nothing but an abomination in the eyes of God, and we're trying to make good of it. It's disgusting. Hey, go ahead. Look like Joy Beans woke up.
Yeah, man, I wasn't asleep, bro, but I thank you. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to, be up here on your platform. And just speaking on Juneteenth, yes, true enough, there was an emancipation of slaves, and this was created, a situation that was created. So, government, the same government that allowed slavery, that even created slavery, now frees us. Well, not that freed us, which freedom and emancipation doesn't free. Being free and emancipation doesn't even mean the same thing. Emancipation means change of ownership. So if you go from being a slave, you're changed over to being ruled by and governed by a government. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Hey, man, look that up. That was a heavy point right there.
Yeah, man. Emancipation is change of ownership. It's nothing to do with freed. Slaves were never freed. They were emancipated. So they went from being slaves to being ruled by government, which even a white man ain't free. They have white privilege. So when you say white privilege, I mean, you got the privilege. You're not free. Freedom, everybody keeps saying we don't know. Freedom is a state of mind. Freedom, you can be free within your mind. It doesn't have nothing to do, because we're not free out here into this world. We have rules, we have bylaws, and there's a lot of things that we have to abide by. So therefore, freedom is a state of mind, just like any other kind of emotion. Love is a state of mind. All these things are a state of mind. So yes, when they they deemed that we could celebrate this and make it a national holiday, it's the same people who enslaved us. So now they're giving us a pacifier. We have to stop feeding into all these pacifiers. We got Black History Month, all these things that they're giving us to pacify us. Like, okay, let's pacify the black people. We're gonna give them Juneteenth. Juneteenth is whack, bro. It's not. It doesn't have a meaning, and we're celebrating something that they're giving us that they had no business having us in slavery, and we are not free. You can be mentally free, and when you're mentally free and you understand mental freedom, then you have an understanding what freedom is. But you can't celebrate something that we wasn't supposed to be. And now, hey, all right, y'all got permission to celebrate this as a national holiday. And, hey, this was whatever the date was that we were emancipated. It's just like a child being emancipated from their parent at a certain age. They want to leave home and then they can emancipate themselves. So that's just a little thing that I just wanted to bring forth, that I would never celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, none of that stuff, because it's all fake, man. It's not real, and it's for business, period. And I mean, who wants to celebrate Thanksgiving when it was about the killing of people and the taking of land of people? And people got the nerve to go and sit at the table and celebrate this. Thanksgiving should be every day that you've granted the mercy and grace from God, from the Creator. That's Thanksgiving daily. And like my one guy said, we as black people, we always trying to do a cookout or barbecue for a certain day. Black people barbecue anyway. We grill all the time. It doesn't have to be a special day. Families should be thankful each and every day for each other. And let's go to Christmas. We know that that's one of the worst holidays ever. And it's for business, and it doesn't even correlate. It doesn't even go with the word of God. Easter, there's more worship about a damn bunny. Christmas, Santa Claus, Satan. All this stuff, man, is just things to distract us from being in line with what the will of God is for us.
is to offset us so that we don't know who we are and we don't know what our birthright is. So, this is Joey Beans, and just wanted to speak a little bit, man. And I appreciate you guys. I'm finished speaking.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro, you spoke some facts in there, bro.
Very good.
We get
Very
exactly
good.
what you're saying. It's very well spoken. If I could, I want to just add a scripture to what he's saying. Psalms chapter 62, verse 10. Let's read that real quick. King David spoke about the same thing, or used the word of God, obviously, just through the Spirit of Christ, to speak some of the same things that the brother was just speaking on. Give me Psalm 62, verse 10.
The book of Psalms, chapter 62, verse 10. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them.
So that's the mindset of black people, right? He tells us not to trust in oppression and not to do what? Read it again.
Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them.
So that's the mindset of our people. We say, oh man, we've been emancipated. Look, we able to get money now. Look how I drive. Look what I drive. Look where I live. We done came a long way. But then at the same time, we'll look at a constitution that says we're still 3/5 of a man. At the same time, we're marching every single year because our brothers are getting shot in the streets or having knees on their necks, right? We'll go into to a Christian church. They got a white Jesus on the wall the day after taking our daughter, you understand, to the prom or to the abortion clinic because she was being promiscuous because we didn't teach her how to live and how to dress and how to act and how to control her lust. Like these are the things that's still oppression, right? The oppression level is at an all-time high, and we fail to see it because we trust in robbery, right? We forget that this land was taken from our brothers, the so-called Native American Indians, who are the tribe of Gad according to the scriptures, right? We forget about that. Like Joey Beans just mentioned, we celebrate Thanksgiving. Come on, man. We know that that's the slaughter of over 77 million so-called Native American Indians, but yet we still do it, right? And then we'll say, oh, well, Juneteenth, we just realized, hey, look, our basic scriptures, all the different things that's been coming out of these various books and stuff today, we realized that Juneteenth, we were not freed. So King David writing to us right here, he said, listen, don't trust in oppression just because riches have increased, right? Just because black folks are quote unquote free to have some liberties in this particular country. Like, I'll give you an example. You got Deshaun Jackson, right? Deshaun Jackson, NFL champion, I believe. I think he might have won an NFL championship. I'm not sure. But Deshaun Jackson, NFL player, well-known NFL player. You got Nick Cannon, who started Wild 'N Out, which is a $1 billion company or $1 billion show. Both of those brothers this past year during the pandemic mentioned that we were the true children of Israel and that the people that live in Israel today are not the real Jews. They steamrolled. They publicly, spiritually, career wise, they castrated those men. They forced Deshaun Jackson to do a interview with a quote unquote Holocaust survivor in one of those what was that suit he was wearing, the Holocaust survivor, quote unquote. He was wearing like one of those
concentration camp
right, yeah.
suits.
Yeah, like he was like a concentration camp to try to get sympathy. They forced their brother to do that, bro. Max Kellerman, who is a Jewish, he went on ESPN and he blasted Deshaun Jackson, said he was susceptible to low level information, just completely insulted the brother's intelligence, right?
And they made
Same
him
thing with Nick Cannon.
donate. They made him donate one of his game checks.
Right, made him donate one of his game checks. They made Nick Cannon donate like $120,000 to one of the Jewish, quote unquote, Jewish research centers or whatever. So this brother spoke that he was the true Jew according to the Bible, which is fact. And they made this man. They took Wild 'N Out from him, and they made him. I think was it Viacom. They fired him. So how are we free when you can't even speak? Give me that real quick. I think it's in Isaiah 29, verse 20 and 21. It talks about make a man an offender for a word. We don't even have freedom of speech. They always on LeBron James about saying something about black people. Go ahead. Read that scripture. You got something, Z Real? Go ahead.
And I'm just however they be clapping their mics on here, man. Oh shit. I'm trying to stay up on
Man. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
my brother Dion,
Yep.
just that last Bible verse that you had, man. Listen, it stop sucking on the pacifiers that they give us. It's
Right.
pacification, man. It doesn't make sense, and we have to not be blind to that. That's what
That's
that
right.
Bible verse is saying. Don't go for all this stuff that they're telling you, all these holidays and all that, man. Even we got the nerve to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, man. I mean, there's so many black people you see
That's
running around. They throw on the green and they celebrate. You're not Irish. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like, stop celebrating
right.
these paganism holidays.
St. Patrick killed many black people. Right. We
Thank,
don't even know
thank
that. We
you,
don't even read that. He killed many black
thank you.
folks. Hey, but read that real quick. I had in Isaiah 29.
The
Real
book
quick,
of Isaiah,
Black Beans.
the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught.
You on mute, Dion. You there, Dion? You fall off?
He might have lost signal. You want to pick that up?
Yeah, go ahead, read that again.
Isaiah 29, verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught.
So you see, it talks about making an offender for a word. That offender for a word is if you speak truth to power. They not worried if you speak a word in favor of their brainwashing and their oppression. They will give you a platform. They'll give you a show. Al Sharpton. They would give you position in their own government.
My bad. Oh, damn, my bad. My phone went out. Go ahead, G-Real. My bad. Go.
They would give you positions in their own government. They will send you to the top of the charts, music-wise, if you speak a word in their favor. But if you speak truth to power, to try to wake up the people that are asleep, that are on the bottom, that they have their knee on their neck, then they come after you. Just like Dion was saying about Deshaun Jackson, Nick Cannon. Hell, they try to come after Ice Cube, but he makes them too much money in Hollywood, so they kind of left him alone. And he kind of played the middle ground too. He didn't really go all out like Nick Cannon and Deshaun Jackson and them did. But whenever you speak truth to power, they come for you. Go ahead, Dion. Finish.
Right. Yeah, I just want to get that script real quick. I appreciate you. I don't know what the hell happened to my phone, but I'll praise it. Get Isaiah 29 real quick, verse 21 again that you just read.
Isaiah 29, verse 21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught.
So it said that make a man an offender for a word. You can't even say that you're an Israelite. You can't even say, hey, look, we the Jews. We the true people of God. We it's our heritage. Jesus Christ is a black man. So is Moses, right? So is Jesus Christ's mother Mary and his father Joseph. Yeah, they all black. We the people of God. You can't even say that without being an offender for a word, without being blackballed or having your livelihood taken from you. That's how you know we not free. You know what I'm saying? That's how, because think about this. We got young brothers out here that's making millions of dollars as rappers, and all they talk about is murder, drug dealing, stealing, riding on their homeboys, sleeping with their boy girl. I mean, just like whoremongering, prostitution. That's all they talking about. And that's okay. But me saying, hey, I'm a Jew, according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it outlines my history. I'm the people of the book. And you'll go to jail for that. You know what I'm saying? Like in some instances, in some places, they'll throw you in prison for speaking truth like that. Like when I was living in Israel, I couldn't stand up and say that I was a Jew. You understand? Get that real quick in 2 Maccabees 6. When I was living in Israel, because I used to live there for a while, you couldn't say. I remember. I'll tell you a quick story. There was a guy that was one of my teammates when I was playing in Israel. His name was Sean something. I can't remember. But anyway, his father was from Alabama,
His father went over to Israel and played from like the 80s to like the early 2000s. He's a legend. He was like the Michael Jordan of the Israeli league, right? And he decided to stay. He married a quote unquote Jewish woman, Caucasian, Edomite. He married her and had these two boys. Now his son was a really good player, but he had always grown up in Israel. So he converted to Judaism. So here it is. I come along. I'm from the States. I see the oppression of our people. I see the evil that's going on. I'm trying to tell him, like, yeah, bro, I know you've been living here all your life. I was like, from Alabama, where your daddy from? Like, it's bad over there. Mississippi, where I'm from, it's bad over there, bro. And he's like, yeah, but those people aren't Jewish. Like he couldn't hear what I was saying to him. He couldn't see the oppression of his people, right? He was like, the things that you trying to tell me about us being the Jews and stuff like that. Like you got to be real careful speaking like that around here because they'll throw you in prison. I'm like, yo, are you serious? He like, yeah, you can't say those type of things, bro. You better convert to Judaism, right? So that shows you right there. We are offenders just for a word, right? Give me that real quick. Second Maccabees 6:6. Same history.
Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
You see that? That was during the time of the Greeks, right? During the time of the Greek captivity where the children of Israel were enslaved under the Greeks, we could not keep our Sabbath day, so we couldn't keep our Passovers. We couldn't keep our weekly Sabbaths. We couldn't keep our new moons or our, give me something else, Pentecost, tabernacles. We weren't able to keep those things. Just like here in America, we don't keep those things. The mass majority of our people don't know that Passover is the celebration of how the Lord killed the Egyptians and saved us, killed the Egyptians' firstborn son and saved us out of Egypt. That's a celebration that God says to celebrate every year. That's an emancipation. That's freedom. But we don't celebrate that in the black community. We say, no, I guess I go on down here and get me some early fireworks for 4th of July's. I'm going to go and get it and I'm going to go and pop it on Juneteenth. We don't even know that the Lord gave us a holiday to celebrate our emancipation. We don't know about the Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah. We think that's a Jewish holiday. No, Hanukkah is during this time period right here where the Lord redeemed us by the hand of our forefather, Judas Maccabees and his brother. Saved us from the hand of the oppressor, saved us from the hand of the Greeks, and we rededicated our temple after they stole it and destroyed it and burned it. You understand? So these are the things that we haven't learned. That's why the Bible says, read it again.
Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So you will be in the street during that time and you couldn't say that you was a Jew. You had to say what? Oh, I'm Greek. That's why when you get to the New Testament, it said neither Jew nor Greek, because many of the brothers that grew up under Greek customs, their ancestors were persecuted for calling themselves Jews. So by the time you get to the New Testament, Paul had to let them know, yo, it ain't no difference between the Jew and the Greek. I know you've been calling yourselves Greeks, you've been Hellenized, but don't call yourself that no more. You the Israelite, you the sons of Abraham. It's the same spirit, the same thing going on. It's a reoccurring thing. This Bible is 100% fact. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices.
So what?
And when
Stop. It says they were brought by bitter constraint. That means forced. Our ancestor was forced to eat of the sacrifices. Go ahead.
And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy.
So the Feast of Bacchus is, today we call it Bacchanal or Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is like kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? A branch off from that here in America. Many of us in the South celebrate. You go down to New Orleans, get your beads. Women flash their titties. Dudes act a fool in the streets, get drunk, get high. That all descends from Bacchus or Bacchanal. In the islands, in the Caribbean islands, many of our brothers and sisters, they dress half naked. Women twerk. They smoke. They act a damn fool in the streets. Well, we learned that under the white man. We learned that under the Greeks. We were forced to do that. It says by bitter constraint. So here it is. You couldn't celebrate your holidays. You couldn't call yourselves what you really were, which are Jews. And you had to celebrate their holidays and what they gave you by bitter constraint. Because now, if I go into the barbershop right now amongst all black folks and say, I don't celebrate Juneteenth, they'll persecute me in there. They'll say, bro, what the hell wrong with you? That's when Massa gave us a chance to celebrate our freedoms. That's what they'll say. If I went to a white person and said, hey, I don't celebrate Juneteenth, they'll say, what? That's when my ancestors gave you an opportunity to celebrate the fact that we allowed you to be free in 1865. It's the same thing. We was brought by bitter constraint. Go ahead.
Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashion and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present miseries.
So during that time, they were persecuting us. They was putting us to death for not celebrating the king's birth, for not celebrating Bacchanal or Bacchus at that time. They were persecuting us. Now they do the same thing to us on Clubhouse. We come on Clubhouse, we say, hey, we don't need to celebrate no Juneteenth. Then we got a couple old coon Negroes come up here on stage and say, you need to celebrate it because Master gave you an opportunity. It's the same thing. It's the same spirit. We're not being put to death for it right now, but we are being persecuted for it. Hey, all right, I mean my mic.
You're being put to death, but it's indirectly. They destroyed Nick Cannon's career.
Yeah, that's right. You right about that. Damn.
Hey, let's hear from Jamie. Hey, Jamie, you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
How's it going, Jamie? Welcome to the stage. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I was determined to stay up. I'm on the East Coast until I got my opportunity. I'm part Jewish and part Creole. And Juneteenth is definitely a contradiction. I feel like it should be more of a day of mourning because the oppression among Black people is still there. Being raised part Jewish, the Holocaust and everything that happened was always a day of mourning, not celebration. And I think for the most part, it's just the ignorance of Black American people not teaching their children the truth about their ancestors. And the younger generation don't have a clue what Juneteenth is. It's not taught in the schools anywhere. So I feel as African American adults, we need to educate our children. We need to educate our community and just don't fall into the trap of what the white man give us as a day of celebration. I think they laugh at us because we're so easy to be so gullible to any little crumb that they offer us. And we don't make a stance. We don't come together in unity as a people to make a change in our community and demand better. We just accept whatever is giving. So Juneteenth, being on the East Coast and the South, it's a lot of celebration concerts that was never done before. But ever since George Floyd, Juneteenth came out, now people feel, okay, it's time for a cookout, it's time to celebrate. But we definitely is still oppressed people. We have to look at the truth for what it really is. I feel we more oppressed now than then because mentally we oppress in our minds if we're not freed by the Spirit of God. That's all. I'm off the mic.
Sis brought out some heavy points. I like that point that you brought out about they laugh at us. As I read in that historical book from our own ancestors, it's called Nigger Day in Texas. Now the thing is, your average redneck in Texas, he'll call it that because a bunch of black folk is celebrating when they got free. But people who do research on history know what it come from and laugh at black folk in the park doing this, doing that, and whatnot, and not really even acknowledging the day for what it really is. It's just a day to, like, they're gonna have some young rappers that have, I guarantee you, those young ass rappers they're gonna have performing
know absolutely nothing about the day that is supposed to be valued and celebrated in the black community. They are literally showing up for money. I guarantee it. And that's why white folk laugh at us, because the history is not passed down from generation to generation. They are literally getting dumber and dumber and dumber until it's going to be non-existent. Another 10 years, another decade, kids might be saying, no, slavery never happened. I don't know what y'all talking about. That stuff was made up. It's a myth. That's Illuminati stuff, because they're going to take it out of the schools. They working on taking it out of the schools. Kids don't read already. Hell, black people, parents don't make their kids read. It's going to be a figment of black people's imagination that they was ever in chains here in America. But I wanted to read this script real quick. I know we're about to close out. It's getting late. But Ecclesiastes chapter 7, if you can for me, Ibuka. Let's read 2 through 4. Let's read that and see what God says about how our mentality should be in the state of oppression, like we all are. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting.
That's why black folk ain't learned that we, as a people, while we don't own nothing. Like, since they bombed Black Wall Street, we ain't built no hospitals. The schools, the colleges we got, they built by, they was funded by white folk. Hell, what's that dude's name? Umar Johnson. Black folk don't want to give him money to start his own school. LeBron James made one in Akron. And I think a dude named Jalen Rose got one too, really. But the things that make a nation, we don't have those things. Why? Because we are too busy in the house of feasting instead of the house of mourning, which God said is better to go to. Read on.
For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of the countenance the heart is made better.
What does that mean? Sorrow's better than laughter. Why? Because we all understand until you staring down the face of a gun, a barrel of a gun, or you on your deathbed, then you start to reevaluate your whole life. You start to think like, damn, did I live my life right? Am I doing the right thing? Did I do this right? Did I do that right? When you partied up, you full of liquor, you're drunk, or you're high, or you're chasing women, you're chasing men, you're trying to show off and be seen. You don't have a care in the world. That's why God said it is sorrows better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart, meaning the mind, is made better. You examine yourself. You examine the ways of your life. Are you walking right with God? Now read verse 4 for me.
The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth.
Everybody celebrating Juneteenth this weekend is considered the house of fools in the eyes of God. Why? Because we are as a nation, not individual, because some of us is doing well. No, I'm not negating that. But as a nation, the statistics show that still in 2021, with all the cryptocurrency, with all the education that black folk got, with all the money that is flowing through digital streams and banks, black people still have 1/10 the wealth of their slave masters. almost 200 years after slavery, we got 1/10 the wealth as a nation as the people that gave us Juneteenth. Why? Because we have been in the house of fools for centuries. It's time for us to come up out of here. I'm glad you brothers and sisters stayed on Clubhouse to learn some things. Now you can take it back and begin your walk
in learning who you are and what God requires of you. Because staying in the house of fools only leads to death and destruction in the long run.
Hey, I know we finna shut down, but I just wanted to add something real quick to what ZB Real was saying, because that precept you just pulled, bro, that's exactly what we've been so distracted by sin. We have not been able to fully see that there has been light illuminating in these last days, and the truth is hovering right above us. Give me Isaiah 59 real quick in verse 9. I just want two scriptures, and then I'm gonna jump off this thing. But Isaiah 59 verse 9 real quick.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 59, verse 9. Therefore is judgment far from us, neither doth justice overtake us.
So we see ourselves in the streets of America not getting any justice. We see we don't get true judgment, right? Every time, someone, we get shot down, and every time we get killed in these streets, we see our brothers and our sisters being murdered. We got the Tamir Rices, we got the Breonna Taylors, the Sandra Blands, the list goes on and on. And those are just the ones that we always point out, because those are the ones that come off the top of our head, because there's so many that we can name. If we just had all the names in front of, we could just read a list and probably take us a day to read off all the names of the brothers and sisters that have been murdered shamelessly in the streets and left for dead over these past couple years, or these past 10 years or so, right? So the Bible says, therefore is judgment far from us, because we are in sin and because we cannot truly see the light and what we're supposed to be doing as Israelites. Justice is far from us. Judgment is far from us, and justice doth not overtake us. Go ahead.
We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness.
So it says we wait for light. That's what Juneteenth is. That's what I told the little young brother there earlier. I think his name was Paid. That came on the scene. I was like, bro, I know what you're saying. We as black people have been down so long. We look for small big victories in captivity. We look for the first black-owned business in our neighborhood. We look for the first black person to go to the moon. We look for those things. We try to say like, wow, after oppression and after all we've been through, look, we still able to do some things. Now realizing that the so-called white man been doing this for 40 or 50 years, we just now catching up. We just now moving into their neighborhoods. They move out of those neighborhoods 30, 40, 50 years ago. I deal with real estate. Some of these houses in the 70s and 80s, they was living good. Now you get to 2021 and you got black people just being able to finally get an FHA loan and move into it. You understand? Like, and it's not a knock on our people. It's just to show you just how deep the oppression runs. So the Bible said we wait for light. We hoping that something is gonna come, but yet behold obscurity. Once again, we see another president come in and just talk about how I'm gonna do all this for black people, and then bam, 2 months into his presidency or 3 months into his presidency, he still hadn't done enough for black people. And he done given Asian people, more rights than us. Go ahead,
Hey, Dan, you can't forget about our Hispanic brothers and sisters. Also, they the Israelites as well, and they wait for light and get obscurity too. Because just think about this: they thought Trump was the worst thing to ever hit the face of the earth, building walls, putting them in ICE detention centers, and rejecting asylum seekers and everything. Don't y'all know Joe Biden, a Democratic president, he ain't closed not one ICE facility at all in his presidency. He ain't no better either. So blacks, Hispanics, we brothers, we are all looking for light, and obscurity keeps on coming, like Dion saying. Go ahead, Dion, finish it up.
No, you on point, man. You on point about that. He ain't done nothing to help us. So I say it again, like, we wait for light, but behold obscurity. For brightness, but we walk in darkness. The darkness is the fact that you still thinking in your mind that you're African American or you're Hispanic or Native Indian. When the Most High God is now has this platform going every single day with brothers and sisters bringing out various scriptures, talking about Bible all day, every day. You can get this on. You can see it on YouTube. You can email us at Biblical Smoke, right? You can go on Twitter. You can see what we're bringing out every single day, right?
but our people still walk in darkness. That's what Juneteenth is. We hoping for light, but brightness. But shoot, we still in darkness. We still see the oppression right before our eyes. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes.
Look at that. It said we grope for the wall like the blind. If you ever examine a blind man, you take away his cane, or even with his cane, he's reaching for something hollow. He's trying to find something. He's trying to hit the corners of the baseboard in the house to find out where there's an open doorway so he can not walk into the wall. That's the same thing we doing. We groping for the wall like the blind. We looking for something. That's why we celebrate Juneteenth. That's why we celebrate Easter and all these things. We trying to find something to grasp to. That's why our people go into Islam and Egyptology, right? And all these various different ideologies and doctrines, because we trying to search for something better. We trying to figure out what it is that we're missing. Why are we so oppressed? And the Bible got the answers. You the Israelites according to the Bible. God's telling you right here. Go ahead.
We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men.
You know what it means by we in desolate places as dead men? We walk around this country and we think that we can coon our way out of oppression, or we think because we make a certain amount of money that it's going to finally make us be equal in the sight of the so-called white man. But yet he continues to show you over and over and over that he's not for you. And he cares nothing about you. Just long as you stay in your place, boy, you all right here. But as soon as you step outside of your place, or I feel like killing you and your people, or oppressing you and your people, or sending coronavirus into your neighborhood and injecting it into you and your people through what they call a vaccine, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying the vaccine they trying to kill you with. I don't know. I'm just saying, history shows us, Tuskegee experiments and so on and so forth, that these things have been done to us over and over and over. Then they say, why don't you trust it? Look what's happening to us. And what has happened to us. So that's why the Bible says we are in desolate places, dead men. We don't know where we're going, right? We have no light. We have no life other than these scriptures. So I would exhort you, brothers and sisters, to truly learn who you are and what you need to do. Stop celebrating Juneteenth. It has nothing to do with your freedom. It has everything to do with you being pacified. So I mute my mic on that. Go ahead, Carla.
And on that note, we'll close it down for tonight. Follow the club at the top of the little greenhouse. Also, hashtag on Twitter, Biblical Smoke. And follow those on stage as well that brought out the word. And we'll see you tomorrow. On that note, have a good night. All praises to the Most High, and all credit is due to the Most High. And now go ahead and hit the Thanos button.